Hello, everybody. What's going on? TCH Live Tuesday. Aaron McAvoy here, hanging out with you guys tonight. Been away in Vegas for the last couple of weeks, so missed you last Tuesday, but good to be with you guys here this evening. So thanks for tuning in, and we're going to be getting in on the action here momentarily. Starting off with our usual flip, PLO flip, and then we'll get going into the two-card game after that. Take a look around the table, get some new players coming in. And plenty of familiar faces here for sure, as well as what looks like maybe some new faces, at least for me. So should be an exciting stream, so looking forward to it. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Let's take a look and see who all is already hanging out with us. I suspect we've got the usual suspects. As, let's see here. We've got Raina. Hey, what's going on, Raina? How are you? All right, here we go. First PLO flip to get things started, coming right at you.
So it works on this one. Is this your scanner way up here? You have to scan it before the hand. Yeah. Put all four on the same time.
I'm not gonna be.
A couple of sevens exposed here in the 9 seed. Looking for a 7 on the flop. Doesn't find one. Nothing on the turn either. So those aren't going to be particularly strong given this board. Let's see if somebody's got an 8. There we go. 8 ace for NB. Gonna make a full house and ship it for what looks to be 700 in profit. So that was only $100 per player on the flip. Oftentimes we see a couple $100 or more, but starting things off a little bit lighter here this evening, as we do have the 5, 10, 25 game this evening instead of quarter 50. All right, looking at the stacks here, NB moving on up to 5.7K. Pretty much everybody's starting at 5,000 to get things going. Benham here in the 3 seat, opting to buy in for 4K. But yeah, we'll get these stacks built up before you know it, I would imagine. Frank joining us here as well. What's going on, Frank? Welcome. Poker Monkey as well. Hello, hello.
Yeah, good.
All right, Harvey here in the 1 seat, suited ace 8. Gonna come in for a raise. Benham in the 3 seat, just going to call the king jack suited, facing this under the gun open. Fires in the mix with the 6-4. Oh, why not? Cashman in there out of the straddle with the 9-6 suited as well. So we might just be seeing a bunch of fireworks here this evening, with some splashiness going on already. Hand number 1. Bottom pair for Cashman and fire. Trips here for Harvey. He'll continue for 50 bucks. Very close to hammerlock on this hand. One of the 6s hits, both of the 6s hit the muck. It's Benham in here with the king jack. Does turn a heart flush draw to go with his second nut-note pair. Checky gets to see that river for free, and it is a full house now for Harvey. No improvement for Benham. Let's see if Harvey traps. No, he's gonna bet here. Really tough to get called, but he gets snapped off by the king high after all. Benham here. I mean, this is going to be one of the better hands he's going to have when he flats the open, and it comes ace, ace, 9, 9 out there. So honestly, the king high, pretty reasonable call down. Snapped it off and got shown to top boat. So yeah, plenty of new faces here for me at least. I'm sure some of these players have played on perhaps the Wednesday, the 5-10, 5-10-25 Wednesday game that run out of TCH Dallas. Jedi Master Ted and Donnie joining us in the chat. What's up, y'all? Welcome. Parent card pitched off to the side there, finds its rightful owner. And with $90 in the pot, Fire here going to open it up. The 6-4 suited. It's at 150 to go. And he's just going to take this down. Easy peasy. JTM New York, what's going on? Joining us here in the chat as well, as we're up to 65 of you fine folks hanging out with us so far. A little bit slow going as we get started. Help us out, hit that like button. Perhaps the algorithm just needs a little tickle to get this program out to a few more viewers. Of course, there are all sorts of streams, tournaments, and all kinds of things going on out there, so every little bit helps. Do appreciate you guys so much for what you do. Top and bottom pair here for NB. Top pair no kicker and little backdoor equity here for Fire, but with the top pair, he's not going anywhere. NB, the pre-flop aggressor, and oh no, this is headed to danger town. Well, NB checks it over. Obviously, Fire here going to feel like he's got the best hand a lot of the time, but is NB going to play this as a check raise or a check call and then check river? It's a little bit weird giving up the betting lead here as you're out of position, so it's going to be tough to get all the chips in if your opponent ever does just have a showdown hand that isn't going to bet the streets for you. Nonetheless, does go for the check call. Going to the river 10 of diamonds, does not complete anything. I guess the random like king queen of hearts or something just got there for Broadway. NB does indeed check it over once again, and indeed Fire is going to oblige with a bet. Playing the trip aces and the jack 10 on board for kickers. 700 is the bet. NB here lined up the calling chips, and we'll now go for an additional stack of black $100 chips. And yeah, Fire here is not going to love this. It's just such an awkward spot for your hand to ever be good. Like, regardless of the player type, the check raise on the river with this board texture, Fire knows that this sucks. Rena here letting me know that there were a lot of problems with the background noises last night. The commentator was doing the commentary from home and you could hear family in the background. Well, I do apologize for that. Of course, don't really have any influence over that myself, but thank you for sharing that feedback. And yeah, that is an unfortunate thing. Do apologize. Of course, we always strive to provide the highest quality entertainment for you guys. So hopefully we can avoid that in the future. But yeah, looks like Fire. Honestly, I got distracted there. Didn't even see if he made the call or the fold there, but perhaps looks like, I guess he made the call probably. All the chips that are there in front of NB. Tough spot nonetheless. Bet fold there. Okay, great. Sorry about that. Was looking at the chat and didn't even see the final action. That's what you came here for, the highest quality commentary. Don't even see what's going on the river. Anyways, let's move along. As Fire did take a little bit of a hit there. Stuck 1.3K. All right, 25 is mandatory, so there we go. Get that quarter out there.
I've never seen that much range from Mr. 7 birdie.
Yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday. I love it.
Rag aces going in the bin, but Harvey here with his middling rag ace going to go ahead and open the button to 75. NB here from the straddle, he'll complete Queen 10-0. Pretty fair fight between these two hands. Second pair for NB. Pretty favorable board, all things considered, for Harvey to c-bet, but he does opt to check it back. Gets an ace of diamonds on the turn to improve, excuse me, to improve to top pair. We'll go for value bet now. A little bit awkward if you're NB. I mean, your hand is sometimes going to be good. You do have that gut shot equity and 2 pair equity. Well, let's just drill the gutty. And yeah, just going to go check here on the end. Yeah, that is always the issue, though. If you do improve your hand to 2 pair or the straight, like how do you get additional value? You kind of have a hard time doing so. And does improve, does make the best hand. Takes down.
Well, it's not even
NB already on a little mini heater here, hand number 7. Already up a couple grand.
Like, once you play with them enough, you're part of the family, you're just like, oh, except for whoever. It doesn't matter. If you're like, outside the family, you just. Oh, of course. Everybody does for a little while. It's like how it is, you know?
He's really nitpicky.
50 to go, yeah. Oh, you guys came before the hand. Yeah.
Sassy says, hi, friends. Well, hello, Sassy. Welcome
Yeah, it's all
to the stream.
yeah.
Welcome to Bill and Kara Stoke Day as well. Hello, the cat. What's up, y'all?
Also, some people
Thanks
like
for
that,
popping on in.
always wants to lose.
Nice fine
That's like
Tuesday
back
evening.
in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Raised to 125 here. David and AJ both going to make the call. Bunch of speculative hands going to a flop here. Harvey here raising from the cutoff with a reasonable holding. Ooh, Fire's in the mix as well. Didn't even quite see that right off the bat, but in there with the 9-8-0. Check through on the flop, and AJ here, who had flopped best. Oh, sorry, wait. Oh, this board is incorrect. What we're seeing on screen, the graphics are incorrect. We have a couple of queens out there. Unless I completely whiffed something in my brain, but yeah, no, we've got queen, ace, 6, so that is why the 6 deuce is already in the muck. King here on the end will improve Harvey's hand, but it is second best to trip queens here for AJ. Once again, that deuce on board is actually a queen. There we go, get it corrected. Is a pot size wager? No, half pot size wager.
Oh, Jesus. Body shot. Oh.
Harvey here looks like he might be lining up a big check raise here, turning his king into a bluff. And indeed, he is. Takes it up to 1850. sort of representing the hand that AJ has. Of course, AJ doesn't have a kicker. He's playing the ace and the king on board, which is actually just fine. I mean, it's not like there's an 8-5 or something out there and his 2 kickers really punishing him. He chops with every other queen, and he only loses to a full house or some sort of weird 10-jack of diamonds, I guess. Like, I'm just not sure. Oh my god, he is going to fold this. This is going to work for Harvey, and that is a big fold. That is a very big fold. Well played, Harvey. I mean, he's 100% just targeting an ace there, and gets a queen to fold. I think if he had known his opponent would fold all the way up to a queen, he would have felt even better about the bluff. Certainly does now.
The last person to have a button has to pay everybody $100, or whatever we say.
Again, I don't
You
understand.
just have to win a hand. If you, the last person, when you win a hand and show, that showed up.
Yeah, 5K at the start.
So you win a hand and show your hand, Neil?
Yeah, 5K.
Yeah, when you win, you have to show that you rid of it.
That's 5. Yeah.
Just like you showed his hand.
Right.
You have a winning.
JD
You
here
win the hand.
explaining
You gotta win the hand. Yeah, so he
Nick
bluffs,
game.
he shows the hand, he gets rid of his button. And then whoever's last has to pay everybody else out, whatever he's deciding on. So it's really just like a Nick game, like where it's like the last person to win a hand. If you run bad or something,
I already
it
won a
sucks.
bunch of
Those
Start
don't
from
count.
the beginning.
No. So you start at the table's full. Are you interested? Try it? Let's try it. How much do we normally do? 100?
Fire here, gonna open up the action on the $50 straddle. King Jack suited,
100 is Spain.
So you have to
no
pay
takers,
everybody
so
Yeah,
he'll
so it'll cost you
Yeah.
800
that one
if you
for
lose.
free.
You have to battle.
Huh?
You have to battle to win the hand.
You have to what?
To
Battle.
battle. Yeah.
Oh, but it has to go to showdown.
No,
Jorge coming in
people
here
flop,
in
you
the
can show
8
it's
seed
fine.
Even pre-flop, yeah.
to now have a full
You
table.
just win any hand. You just win any hand.
Just win.
You don't have to have the best hand, sure, you just win.
Sure.
So you bluff them, you whatever, you know, if you can walk, okay, but you probably won't get any walks. $100? You just want to be on this hand?
This hand.
This hand, sorry.
All right, looks like everyone has agreed to play the nit game. We'll get the nit
Yeah,
buttons
don't remind anybody else to
passed
show their
out
hand
here
over.
momentarily.
If somebody's gonna
You
monkey
see the
this, let them
stack of
monkey.
those
Don't
red
say
buttons
anything.
next to the dealer, and those will
I don't
get
think there'll be
passed around.
penalties, but-
To anybody who is unfamiliar with the nit game and didn't quite understand what was explained there by JD, basically, if you win a hand, you get rid of your little red nit button, and you're now free rolling $100. If you still have your nit button, then you need to win a hand to get rid of it. And if you happen to be the last player to still have your nit button, you're actually going to have to pay everybody else at the table $100. And with 9-handed, that's going to be $800 down the drain. So it's a $900 swing. If you win a hand, get rid of your nit button, you are going to get $100 from somebody. And if you are the last person with the nit button, you are going to have to pay everybody else out $100 to the tune of $800 total. So yeah, it pays to win, and that does incentivize the action a little bit. Juices it up, and especially comes into effect when there are only a couple of players with their nit button remaining, because they are starting to feel the heat. Right now, with everybody having a nit button, it really doesn't make that much of an impact on the range of hands that you're going to play, because it's like, well, you're just not in danger yet of getting forced to pay that out. But once you get down to like 3 players with their nit button, especially when you get down to the final 2, there is a very strong incentive for those players to try to win a pot. And that can dramatically impact their decision making. Of course, we've seen plenty of times on this show and on other in other games that you know, people can get pretty blasty trying to win that final pot.
The good news, Neil, is if you get rid of your button, then you're
Sometimes
guaranteed
you
to
see
get
some
paid
pretty spectacular meltdowns, blow-ups, or just big wins,
Somebody's gonna lose for sure.
Somebody's gonna
depending on
lose.
how you look
Yeah.
at it.
It's like the reverse flip. Remember how you used to always say like the reverse flip?
One other little caveat, you have to show your
You
hand
do.
in order to get rid of your nit button.
I forgot the... Oh, really?
So if you do win the hand, but decide to muck your hand instead of turn it over, you will actually have to keep it. And if somebody tells you, I didn't hear if they were doing this here, probably not, but normally there's some sort of penalty. If somebody tells you, hey, you got to show your hand in order to get rid of your nip button, well, bam, that person
That's true.
either has to pay a penalty or they get the nip button themselves from the other player. So there can be some penalties, some fun little things mixed in there, but I think right now we're just playing the standard nit game with no additional, no penalties, no nothing like that. You do have massively multi-way here till Fire squeezes it up on the button with the ace 10-0. JD in the big blind with ace queen off. Good spot to go for the cold 4-bet. And he will indeed. And did he just rip it? He did. This is a massive jam. All in for 4.6 thousand. I mean, the pot is basically $600. Wow, Benham is in the mix. He's like, nah, bro, I called the 75. I've got a good hand, and I'll gamble with it all. So he makes the call, fires out of there with the ace-10, and here we go. It's a race between ace-queen and nines. So far, so good for the nines. Ooh, queen on the turn. Needs a 9 or a jack and doesn't find it. And just like that, JD is going to stack Benham and chip up to 8,500. Wow, that hand just went from 0 to 100 real quick.
So we got 10 now?
So this is 1,000.
Skill.
Yeah, it's pure skill. Pure skill.
Well, Benham did get it in good.
I win.
Really?
Yeah. No good.
Could not.
No good. No good.
So he's going to reload for a couple thousand.
Yeah, they're blue.
Try to spin this up. JD,
Different colors.
get rid of his
Nah, add 5.
nip button.
Not 5.
What was that? The pink? The 500 Oh, yeah. I like them too.
The blue ones are nice.
1,000.
No? For me, I like them. I like these ones. I like these ones.
The best chips here, the 5K, the yellow ones?
Yeah.
Beautiful, really nice.
I have them, but I don't know. I don't really like them.
The ones at
They're
the other
different
room.
here. They're different here.
Yeah, but I have.
Oh, you have it?
Yeah. I prefer the blue ones. These ones. For the 5K, right? Yeah. I know.
500 back?
Let me know in the chat if any of y'all have been out
I knew I was
at
somewhat
the
close.
WSOP in Las Vegas. If you have,
I bought him for 4.
have you had any success?
I know.
Do you know that one Texas local got second in the Goliaths of poker? It's for $300,000. Pretty fantastic score right there. As Benham here has the nines again, fire with the ace queen. It's a legit just reload of the previous hand. Benham here does once again fade the flop, and this is a good board for him, all things considered. Benham checks it over to Fire, who bets 300 into 490. A large sizing given the board texture, but applying maximum pressure. Benham goes for the check call, and it's not a queen on the turn this time. Benham checks it once again. And it does look like Benham has bought in for more than 2,000. I think, unless those are $1 chips, I think those are 1Ks, right? Pretty sure those are the 1K blues. So he's got something like 2,000, 3,000 and change left.
Not much. Yeah, I went.
Check, turn, and check, call, river with the ace peeling off. Those are indeed 1Ks. And yeah, unfortunate run out here for Benham.
Yeah, the ball. The highest range.
Does pay off the half pot bet on the end. I mean,
Okay. Ah, yeah, or unison. Yeah.
It's, I don't know.
wonder.
Those are just tough
I
spots.
want to have dinner to Spanish.
You hate to just fold and have your opponent just like have dust, and they're like, I just repped the ace and you folded, so good for me. But at the same time, that ace is just kind of the card that you don't want to see him do.
Only on the pre-flop. I'm
You
gonna
would
call
call,
it.
yeah.
You just gotta let it go.
It's Roger Federer, right?
So a tough run there for Benham with the 9s in back-to-back hands. Fire relinquishes his knit button.
Yes. There's a 75.
Harvey with the 6s, going to raise it up from early position. Jorge will complete from the big blind, but Cashman wakes up with a real hand, ace-queen off from the straddle. Nice chunky squeeze here, up to 4 1/4. But Harvey will make the call. This is inviting Jorge to come along for the ride, but his hand not good enough to do so. He'll let it go, and it's going to be Cashman versus Harvey. And that's a pretty good flop for the pocket sixes. Not a bad one for the 8-6 of spades either. Would have been up and down, but Cashman here is going to go for the small continue out of position. A little under half pot is the bet here, 425. Harvey makes the call. 10 of spades now on the turn, not a particularly scary card. Cashman can have the occasional suited 10 in his range, pocket 10s as well, but just of all the cards that you can see that's an overpair or overcard to your pair, 10 is sort of the top of the list where you're kind of just like, it doesn't really bother me that much. Cashman checks it over, recognizes that this board is just really not his, even if the ace-queen is somehow good. And Harvey here going to go for a little tickle in position. 475 is the bet. About a quarter pot, and yeah, Cashman's just like, well, this kind of sucks, but yeah, just let it go. Harvey will turn over the winner to get rid of his knit button.
Opposite shoulders, white and black. Or they makes you the good one.
I'll take that. Cashman's evil.
And just like that, hand number 13, we only started the knit game, I think, 5 hands ago, something like that. And I think we've had a unique winner each time. We're very close to it. So we're down to just 3, maybe 4 players with a knit button, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perhaps there's one more hiding over there. For Benham.
Shit, I'm still thinking about it.
Indeed there is, okay. All right.
Deep stack.
Deep stack at the position.
Still 5 out there.
994 or 944 or something. This reader is probably not working good, so probably extra, maybe change my luck.
Just went deep in the main, you know? Nothing else matters.
Nothing's easy.
Battle of the suited Braggy Kings.
That's the only one.
David raises it up from the cutoff, and AJ completes from the straddle, and what do you know, comes king high with a couple of 8s out there. This one almost certainly going to be chopped. As one of these players finds a fold. Check flop, especially with the pot control on the flop. And the half pot wager here on the turn, very likely that we're just going to check to a river, or sorry, to a showdown. But see, I'm proven incorrect in that department. David will try to extract the tiniest little bit of value from something like a jack with a spade kicker, something like that. But it's just going to be a chop at the end of the day.
So we cut them in half, right? Is that how it works? No? Flip once.
Yeah, if you chop the hand, you don't get rid of your button. If you run it twice, the first board counts.
Thank you.
ADC Scooter joining us here in the chat. What's going on? Welcome to the show.
You invented this game?
We look there at the earnings. JD up the most after stacking Venom.
Dylan, claims.
Ace Queen versus nines. NB also up a nice chunk after his initial little heater. And Harvey, the good bluff early and nice hand from a few moments ago.
I don't really
Up
know.
a little chunk
I
as
tell
well.
him I don't believe in control.
Yeah, things like that. How many minutes do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And I'm going to raise it up here from under the gun with the Queen 10 off. Once again, I think his stack is incorrect there on screen. We see it as 900, 75 out there, but pretty sure he's got several thousand more than that. We are going to get a cascade of calls here all the way over to AJ, who will complete from the straddle with the 940. With 5 players still in the hand comes Jack 7-5 two-tone, so top here for JD. Spade flush draw here for Harvey. Those are the only hands that really have much of a piece of this to continue. Venom bets though with just 3 to a straight, no spade, and this is a pretty gutsy play. Not going to work out for him here as he gets called in 2 spots with a tiny little bit of equity. 6 of spades right on the turn, and that's going to lock it up for Harvey. Queen high, spade flush. Check over to JD, and yeah, your hand is strong, but it really doesn't benefit from building a pot any further, given this texture. Another jack on the end. And if it was heads up, I'd say JD would pay off a bet here from Harvey. But Harvey's going to check, and JD now just gets to show down his trip jacks, and Harvey will not get any additional money out of his flush. A little bit unfortunate for him.
Well played, Harvey.
Thank you.
But still wins a $1,000 pot, nonetheless.
Can't trap us. Try to trap us.
Yeah, more.
Oh,
Too
just
good.
Harvey, you bet a gem?
That's what I was worried about.
I know you were. You go in the tank for 15 minutes. I call the clock. You call. You all the money.
Yeah.
See the future.
Straddle, 50.
Kyle comes out of nowhere with his conductor hat.
That is straddle?
It is, yeah.
Cashman here will raise the button. The ace deuce off suit.
125.
AJ completes from the big blind, and in the straddle position we got Venom with the king queen. He's going to squeeze this up.
It's a shame.
I use my bag for work.
525, big chunky bet.
I had
Like
the
to
hat
see
was
it.
like that.
Pull it out of work.
Sticking my bag in the
I guess it was a raise to 125, so yeah.
You were like, what do you have that for?
Size, well done. Venom gets rid of his knit button in the process.
It's difficult to explain.
I was like, I can leave it in my truck, I guess. Put my driving cap.
See the hat coming for YG?
Yeah. We all help copy it out.
4 knit buttons still in effect.
I got one coming from Paolo, actually. Paolo. To be honest, I actually ordered it like weeks ago. Before this hand thing was a thing. It doesn't quite go with the flow, but it's fine.
It didn't flash. I don't think it did.
Folds over to the button.
Yeah, hold on to
Or rather, the hijack. Jorge opening the queen 10.
I need to win this one, eh? I have to win.
Oh, the
Harvey just going to call on the button with the ace jack suited, invites AJ and NB along for the ride, comes king, king 5. 2 pair here for NB is
One
back.
for Harvey for the first time ever. Immediately disappointed. Immediately.
Jorge will take a little stab and
second time. Disappointed
call
both
from NB alone. Heads up to a turn.
What was the other
10 of diamonds now taking the lead is Jorge.
Was I pull for you this tournament?
Yeah, you got a beat.
Oh, did I?
Continue betting now for value.
That's the only reason I pulled for you.
Yeah, he can't really go any place with the flop 2 pair. In fact, he's going to check raise here, turning his 5 into a bluff for a very small size. Jorge can't go improving on the turn and fold to such a small bet. Now has 3 pair.
Yeah.
I'm essentially like an anti-sweater by nature.
I feel that.
NB here is going to give it up.
You get a little piece, you're like, oh,
Yeah, now you're like,
Jorge's like, I'm not going to get double check raise, so I'll just show this down and hope to win. And sure enough,
flopped it, huh?
Eh?
Flopped it.
Flop,
that
yeah?
is going to be good.
Good flop. King, king 5.
Yeah. Well played.
Thank you so much.
Just 3 of us.
Another peek at the earnings. JD Harvey up over 2,000. NB and Jorge up a grand.
Yeah, 2 ones. Yeah. Thank you. Give me one. Please. One better. Thank you so much.
3 players with a knit button after Jorge gets rid of his.
Button gets dealt first, right?
With the $50 straddle on, Cashman's going to find the ace-4 off and what is a little bit of a loose open from the hijack. Harvey just going to call. This will invite AJ to squeeze the button. The king 10 suited.
What did you have? Spades?
Just a pair.
Just a pair? Low pair?
Yeah, this
Like a 5?
kind of the issue with not 3-betting a hand like king jack suited is that then it's a little too good to fold, so you end up going call, call, and that is always just one of the worst feelings ever when you go call, call out of position. I don't know about any of you guys out there, but that is certainly one of the things that makes me just sort of cringe on the inside.
Raise the flop.
Harvey here does flop 2 overs and a flush draw, as well as just has the best hand. Checks it over, facing a 2/3 continue here from AJ. Now has to decide if he's going to play this as a check call or a check raise. Certainly the 9-8-5 flop going to be decent for his call range. Can certainly have some pocket 9s, 8s, 5s, some 6-7 suited. And yeah, he's going to put in the check raise here. Really like to see this. Putting maximum pressure on AJ's range. He certainly can have the better absolute, the better like pre-flop hands, you know, aces, kings, things of that nature. Oh, good lord. AJ is going to call here with the king 10 high. That is a gutsy move. This man has ill intent for the remainder of this hand. Harvey here going to pick up top pair to go with his flush draw. And yeah, he's going to slow this down. He's like, wait a minute. If I am up against aces or kings here, I've just improved and given myself some additional equity, but I really don't want this pot to blow up anymore. And AJ is going to rep the aces and kings of the world. He ships it in. And now Harvey's like, well, I mean, kind of just have like one of the best hands I'm ever going to have here. Because if he's got a flopped set, you'd suspect he's going to check raise and then continue turn. So yeah, checking here. He's just pretty much got the best hand he's ever going to have. AJ is live. Needs to hit a queen though, and only a queen. Sorry, a 7. Queen or a 7. He does have the open ender. And it's a queen! Oh my good lord. Oh, they're running it twice. Okay. Half the pot for Harvey, half the pot for AJ. Okay. I thought if they just ripped it, I mean, that was it. King 10 just got there, but
No, it's top here.
Chop.
I got it straight.
The chop is just get rid of mine.
what a hand.
Get rid of the button though.
AJ showing off
It's hard.
At least
I knew it
his
was on the spade draw, but Jesus, like he hits
commitment to
a jack, really?
battling. Making that call on the flop. Was a small check raise.
He was way ahead. He
So
never was.
certainly some merit there to not just over folding, but good lord, King 10 of diamonds.
Let's get turned in. Yeah, because you're on the top.
You needed to see pretty much exactly a jack
And there were 2.
or a 7 on the turn to even consider continuing in the hand. And even then, what if your opponent had just continued barreling?
You
I mean,
can. You might be the only one for a while.
those get half the pot though. Those players chop it up, and chop pots do not count towards the net game. So
I want you to do it.
I will do it later.
if we still have what, 1, 2, 3 players with a knit button.
Well, there's 2 buttons on big defense. You have a lot. Max defense for the kids, huh?
NB and Cashman certainly have theirs.
150.
There's the 150.
Oh, and Benham has gotten rid of his. Okay, all right. So we're down to just 2 players with the knit game, or in the knit game. NB, the only player in the mix here with a knit button. Finds a terrible flop for pocket 5s. Jorge here, very nice one. Top. And the betting lead checks him. He'll continue. Take it down. Good news for Cashman is that NB did not win the hand.
Call me, but don't call me.
Well, I can't
We'll
really
have another
get much
opportunity
because you might just have it.
to not lose the net game. And it's such a cool dynamic when those 2 players end up in the same pot, because since there's just the 2 of them, you basically add $900 in sort of phantom money to the pot between those 2 players. And that will dramatically change people's decision making.
You don't fold for you, alright? You got the button now.
It's especially apparent
Cashman's
when
already folded. Look at
the
this.
pot size is small.
Yeah, he's gonna fold.
I've already accepted.
Let's say it's a single raised pot, and
It's $800, dude.
I already wrote it
just
off.
like those 2 players get in there. There's really only like a few $100s in the middle, but $900 in implied money from the net game. All of a sudden you see some big blasty plays. Love to see how this develops on this one. NB trying to get in there on the button, just calling the original open from AJ and the hijack with the 8-4 off. David here, who has been relatively quiet so far, is going to squeeze this up with king-queen off from the big blind, and this looks like a pretty good spot to just get it through. And yeah, NB will show the ace, let it go, and David will take it down.
half of
Quick
this.
shout out here for TCH Dallas. Mystery high hands coming up from Sunday, June 4th through Friday, June 29th
You're gonna lose 800.
with daily drawings between 10 a.m.
You win all the
and
hands, you start the game, you don't win
12
any. Second
a.m.
the game's over, you start winning hands again.
daily.
It's like that's how it
All
goes.
sorts of cool things that you can pull out there. You
Usually
can
you
qualify
lose
with
the game,
aces
then win
full
the
of 10s
next
or better
game.
in No Limit. Flopped quads are better in Omaha. That'll get you a drawing of an envelope. And you pop it open, see what's inside. You can get all these different great prizes that you can see on the screen there. So over $50,000 in prizes is going to be up for grab all throughout the month of June. You are in or around
You guys work it out.
the Dallas area, hop on into TCH Dallas and get in on that action.
Good luck.
Cashman and NB, here we go. This is exactly what I was talking about. Heads up here in a pot with an additional $900 in the middle for these two players. Cashman flopping top pair, no kicker, 3 to a straight, through to a flush. He will happily check call this bet of 400 from NB, and NB is now drawing dead. Not the best card in the deck if you're Cashman, because NB could just be like barreling away with some random ace and he just got there. But you did pick up some additional equity if you thought that you might be behind. Any diamond, any deuce could get you there. Of course, a jack or a 3 very likely good as well. So Cashman gonna be going nowhere. Check calls once again. And yeah, really just letting NB do all of the lifting here, trying to get one through, and it's another big overcard. NB checks it over. Cashman rips it all in. Or NB rips it all in. Cashman here put to the ultimate test. Not improving his hand. He's just got a naked jack here. Because there's not a pair on the board, his kicker problems are a real big deal. He could actually even just be up against a random, like, imagine just jack 6 is just like barrel, 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 just like, I don't know what I'm doing, just try to win this and not have to pay the nit game, you know? I mean, you literally could just be losing to a kicker. These spots always just so weird, you just never know what your opponent's doing, and it's just such a savage run out. Ace, king. I mean, maybe NB just like river to king somehow, right? Just got like king 7 and just was like blast, blast, and here we are on the river, and I don't know, rip it in and see what happens. Cashman has the best hand, but is he ever good here with just the jack? It is an overbet as well. I mean, there's 3,000 in this pot. NB's all in for over 4K. What an incredible spot. Cashman here. Trying to figure this one out. It's also really good to have the 3 of diamonds there for a second. Now, you might rather wish that your opponent had something like 10-3 of diamonds, you know, 9-3 of diamonds. Obviously, these are just a handful of combos, and your opponent's going to have all kinds of shit, but what do you do here? Let me know in the chat. What do you do here? Obviously, we can see the cards, but yeah, Cashman's going to let this go. He's like, I don't know. I guess I just don't lose this huge pot. I pay out the 800 and just whatever. NB shows the 9 high, gets the additional 100 out of Cashman as well. Oh, that was a sick, nasty play. Hats off to NB.
Wow, wow, wow. You got to kill off like a 4 probably.
I think I won that one myself.
9 high like a boss.
He had like 4th pair, didn't want to fold to you, Neil, but you got it through.
Oh yeah, I'm adding 2K. Spanish balls, huh? 2K. Spanish balls.
You want to start it right away?
Nice.
All right, so Nick game
What's
is over.
I don't like it.
Has been paid out.
You don't like it?
Already some discussion about starting it up again.
How about we play 7
I'd rather play for a bigger stack than the $100 at the 800.
I know, but you felt the pressure in that hand, right? $800 for the
But that
pressure.
was
Neil.
good.
Yeah, see?
Good pressure.
Good pressure. Good game.
JD trying to sell it. He loves the extra action there.
Rebates for cash.
What a fishy.
And B, easy peasy takes that one down. He's like, well, I'll just show it because
If you go into that, it turns green and like tracks the player.
Oh, yeah.
You'll know where the camera's pointing because it'll be like green on the.
Okay.
Maybe I'm thinking a bit obnoxious. Because in between like the turn and the river, it'll like flashes.
Yeah, I think he had an ace.
still don't have Venom stack updated here
I had a
in
jacket.
the graphics.
Yeah.
He's got somewhere around $3,000,
Really not.
but is still rounding things out sort of at the bottom of the chip stacks there.
When you said that's trouble, when the ace
Does
and the king
wake up
both
with the 2 red 6s here under the gun, and he'll raise
Good run out
this
for
up.
you, Neil. Good run out for you.
Ooh, almost 3.
LV Coleman joining us in the chat. Says, evening, everybody. Hey, what's up?
And here I convinced you that you had a
David here going to squeeze from the cutoff the
I had a flush draw too.
4 of diamond.
I had a good hand. So just jam the
Back to Venom here.
Also thinking like the one time it
Is
was with
just
bottom
out of
pair.
there. He's not gonna tango here with the 6s. Stack to pot ratio would have been much too close to 1 to be playing out of position with a hand that's gonna flop so poorly, so he'll just
And the game's done, you know, it's
let
like hard.
that go.
He gave up on the river. Like, I was calming down. I was not gonna fold the river.
Last time it cost me like 4K. I go 3 barrel against a guy with 4th draw, and he was bluffing the 3rd draw.
Especially when he hits on the nickname. Hands look a little different.
And B here getting a little frisky up front with the king 10 off. JD will hit him with the 3-piece. And AJ here from the straddle, ace queen off, so another big hand. He's just gonna make the call here. Yeah, this is an early position raise and a 3-bet, so gonna give both NB and JD a little bit of extra credit. Not squeeze the ace queen off. And does brick the flop real hard. Sometimes you don't mind that, right? You just like, a little bit concerned about what my opponents have in this particular configuration. You just call, see what happens, and then you just like totally whiff, and you're like, okay, cool. Like, don't even have to worry about it. We just check and fold, and don't have to worry about if we were gonna get
Put the game back on.
5-bet or whatever. Just hands over. Erase it from the old memory banks. Venom here still stuck the most, down 5K. Cashman stuck 3,000. AJ and Fire down a little bit, but everybody else in the positive. V-pips here pretty healthy, 41%, all the way down to Jorge playing shade under 20% of hands coming his way.
One day we decided to play the 7 juice game, and like, we didn't,
Thank you again to everybody who is tuned in, hanging out with us here this fine Tuesday evening. If you haven't had an opportunity yet, please do consider striking the like button with at least the force of half an ostrich. Does help us get this program out to more viewers, so do appreciate you guys oh so very much. Jorge in the mix here with the 7 Dewey, calling Fires open, and top 2 here for Fire, and a whole lot of not much for Jorge, just the bottom end of a gut shot. Jorge just kind of smirks, shows his hand to JT, and let's go. Hoping for something a little bit better to bluff at, apparently.
versus Fire. You raise Fire, snap fold, right, Fire? Are you playing scared today or not today, Fire?
I had it.
No?
Very serious today.
Yeah, you seem like you're playing good today.
I think we had one time.
Not scared, playing good. You Fire.
Yeah, play for David. Have to be serious.
Oh yeah. No George here. George your ice.
Yeah. You're probably going to come next month.
Next month?
Taylor, did you get that? See 3 plus 1 kill? Thank you.
I'm putting 25 on it. Just so y'all.
Yeah.
Okay.
The hand of the day so far. You got 1 through on cash.
David here with red 8s.
1-0.
Yeah, he's got it up there. Yeah. He's back on enemy for the
Imagine losing 2 NIT games in a row.
I've done it. I've done it.
Yeah?
I can imagine.
Oh man, so you're a fucking NIT.
Big time. Big time.
Wow.
I mean, last week you played for that. You lost like 3 times. Like,
No. I only lost once last week.
That's the only one?
The guy in the
Oh,
the guy
yeah,
over
this
here
guy,
lost
this
4
guy.
times. He lost 4 times.
Wow.
We played it 5 times. He lost
He
4.
deserved like a couple.
Oh yeah, that
like
guy.
NIT.
I was feeling bad for him.
He lost 4.
I I normally lose like once a month. Once a month.
And
is
the one
41.
that he actually won, we basically gave it to him.
Yeah, we did. We felt bad. Yeah. We teamed up against
Against Brass Monkey.
Brass Monkey. Yeah.
What's going on?
Misfield.
No, you
Fire
didn't.
this one back up.
Brass Monkey and we're heads up with the Nick game. Brass Monkey folded like under the gun, and everyone else decided we would all fold. Fold blind to give one. Big Brass Monkey fan.
TCH Dallas popping off.
Cashman.
See the room
King's 10.
there in the background as we pan
Oh, good
across.
to see you.
Plenty of games running here this evening. Love to see it. Of course, TCH Social over in Las Colinas probably also popping this time of night as well.
And a 10 was going
If
to
you're in or around Dallas, hop on over to either of these great Texas Card House locations. Your 1-2, your 2-5, and on up.
You were down to 1.
Action on. Of course, PLO games offered as well.
Yeah, we'll make it straight somehow.
AJ on the button with the Robbie suited edition. I'll raise this up. And gets just 1 defender here from the $50 straddle. David, not going to orphan his little babies out there. Goes to war with the 5 deuce off. And AJ just going to get a small continue in and take it down. So I didn't see anybody say in the chat that they had been out to WSOP. So I guess that means that nobody has been out there.
Fly out tomorrow?
That? No, Thursday. Last day tomorrow.
Here's the 225.
How much
King
is
Jack in the muck here from the blind. Harvey raising it up to 2 1/4 off of the $100 straddle, but Jorge is going to make the call and bricks this flop. Not the greatest flop in the world for a pair of 8s either, but these spots just look so good to c-bet and take it down, and Harvey will do just that. ADC Scooter, I don't have WSOP money. Understandable. A lot of those events are relatively large buy-ins by most people's standards. So understandable for sure. It is always fun to go out and shoot your shot though, you know? Give it a go. Definitely did that over the last couple of weeks. My shot missed.
Oh, 2 cards.
All of my shots missed. tough session, but such is tournament poker. Be back out there for the main, maybe some other events as well. Hopefully run better then. AJ here with a couple of 5s. Going to limp from the hijack.
You can't see shit in black on black, dude.
Block it with his hand too.
Oh, I think he said raise. Okay, he said raise, putting it out thinking it was open off of the $50 straddle perhaps. So going to be held to a min raise here. Jorge, after this little mishap, is going to be like, oh yeah, no, that's probably just $200 dead dollars.
How much?
And I've got a really good hand. AJ, though, will defend. Makes the call here after the raise up to 4.5x out of position. It comes ace high here for Jorge. Quarter pot continue. AJ gonna hit him with the raise. This is ambitious. Perhaps going for this with a spade in your hand. Gonna be a little bit more successful sort of in the long run. Jorge here is just going to stuff it. He's like, well, if you actually have it, then I've got big kicker and a spade to sort of go to war with. So he does just ship it in there and take it down. Certainly are going to be some spots where check raising with small pocket pair is going to make some sense, but typically speaking, you're going to do that on boards where you don't have a lot of natural bluffs already. Something like a king 7 deuce kind of flop, rainbow, right, where you just don't have a lot of straight draws, flush draws, things of that nature to go for the check raises with more standard hands. But that one, I mean, you've got ace 9-7, right? So you've got 2 spades, you've got 9-7. So, I mean, you can have some 10-8 suited. You can have some Jack 10 suited. You can, I mean, there's going to be plenty of hands that are going to be gut shot type holdings that you can raise. Of course, all of your spade draws are going to be fair play as well. So, be a little bit ambitious there. Does, of course, just happen to be running up against it. Had his opponent had something like pocket queens or jacks or something, might have actually just been deterred enough by the check raise to let it go. So could have gotten through in a different circumstance and we would have perhaps felt differently about it, but certainly from a results standpoint. Here we are, Harvey with the kings facing a raise and a 3-bet in front. AJ is just going to get out of the way, and Benham here is like, come on, man, why did I have to do this with 8-4 suited and run into this? So he'll let it go. And more steps into negative territory here for Benham, down over 5,500. Cashman and AJ down over 3K as well. Fire hanging in the mix, just down 600, everybody else up. Raising a call here in front of Fire. King 10 suited in the cutoff. He's going to squeeze to 250. And Jorge once again waking up with a big offsuit ace in the blind. Rather than come in for the cold 4. Oh, he is going to come in for the cold 4. Thought he was reaching for some green chips to make the call. Does bump it up to 700 here. And Fire, he can play this hand in position, but against a cold 4-bet range, this is not the greatest spot.
How much do we play?
Does make the call, and here we go with 1580 in the middle. Fire in position, but stacked pot ratio just a shade over 2. And what do you know, top 2 here for Jorge. Straight and flush draw here for Fire. We are going to get some chips in the middle. Quarter pot continue here from Jorge, and Fire with the combo draw. How does he play it here? With such a small bet, you could go both ways. You could just call, or you could just ship it, right? Like, he's going to choose the in-between action, which is a raise to 1.3K. This is, of course, the other option, not one that I would have considered. As stacked pot ratio now at 0.5, thereabouts. Jorge, of course, not going anywhere. He's like, okay, I mean, I guess if you just have like a set of 6s or something, I'm just toast, but. Ooh, checky. Fire here, earning himself a river card for the low price of $900 on that flop raise. Does make a pair of kings, but that's no good. Jorge will put Fire to the ultimate test here. Bets enough to put his opponent all in. And now if you're Fire, you have improved, but is your king ever good? I think the answer is no. And yeah, I mean, if Fire folds here, he may have actually gotten to see this river for the cheapest possible price. He does let it go. He gets to see the turn and the river, doesn't lose all of his chips.
That's it.
I mean, really well played when you think about it from that perspective, right? I mean, like, let's just assume that he just calls the 400 in position. The 7 of diamonds peels off, changes absolutely nothing. I mean, Jorge's going to have to go for another street of value. And at that point, stacked pot ratio, had Fire not raised, would have been right around 1. So Jorge probably just stuffs it in, and then Fire is like, ugh. I want to call it off with the combo draw. Do I just fold, right? Would have had a tough time seeing that river and not losing all of his chips, so pretty cool.
Yeah, did I get it?
Love to see people
They asked me for it, it was
implement their own strategies, take unique lines, take lines that you know, maybe I don't think of, and make them work. That's pretty cool. Did still lose the hand, of course, but I mean, you know, pretty awesome that you got to see the turn in the river
Lose 500 in my pocket.
and preserve his remaining 2,000.
For now.
C2 at 500.
Oh, is it? Sorry, I gotta-
Fire moves
I know.
into
I figured
negative territory
he'd do my work
ever
for me.
further.
Let it hang there for a
Our
minute.
losers on the evening, players down the most, I should say, are
Oh, sure.
all down over
Did you go
2,500.
outside of poker in Vegas?
I played lots of baccarat. I don't care for him.
Okay.
Actually, would you like to play some baccarat?
You're gonna
Heads
stress
up.
Sam out.
Me
You're
and
gonna
you.
stress Sam out, buddy.
I'll take the right, you take the left.
No, it's not like you're Baccarat Pro over there.
You know how to play baccarat?
No.
No?
I don't want to know the rules. I mean, I understand. I use pick and it
It's a
doesn't
lot
matter.
of fun.
Nah, see, I don't even want to know because like, I'm just like, oh, this
Yes.
seems like the safest option.
JT, just staying out of
Wait,
degenerate
Closest
harm's
to 8
way.
9. That's basically it.
You raised 250.
Dog told me always bet banker. That's what I was told.
Yeah. Do what? 250.
He's Vietnamese. I trust it. You know.
I you know, it's incredibly stereotypical but accurate.
It's true. All of it's true.
NB opens,
So
gets
basically
3-bet
I've got-
by Jorge with pocket
got two,
kings.
and
NB
I got
calls,
four,
and here we go
so I
to
would
his
win
8-high flop.
right here. That's it. The middle
Backdoor
part
opportunities
we
for
will share.
NB
Get to
only.
the 10 rolls.
Basically.
Jorge is going to go for the larger size here, 3/4, 2/3,
And then remember,
thereabouts.
8 is the best,
No,
right?
I'm just playing poker box.
Putting
I
the
know, I
Jack
know.
9 of
But 8 is
spades
best. 9's
in.
bad.
8 kills it.
Them up.
8 stops the game too.
But 9's worse.
No, 9's is the best.
Okay, so like, what about 9 and 7? How does that work?
What do you mean?
Like, if you had 7, I had 9, do we push?
No, I mean, if you had 9,
JD
you
here
win.
definitely does not understand the game of Baccarat. Also,
This is where I was
So
getting
he is in the midst of learning how the game works. I thought he was going to try to avoid that.
It's just watch a YouTube video, man. It goes like 5 seconds.
I don't need to YouTube. That's okay. It's okay. Just wait.
5 seconds and you'll be like, this is a fun game. This is my kind of cup of tea.
It is a very simple game once you understand the mechanics of,
They're getting 5%.
well, certainly whether a 9b7 is kind of the.
And the player
Very
loses on the
beginning.
tie, right? Usually.
Yeah, but they're not, the house is not
No,
playing.
no, it's a push.
The house is just dealing. It's not like blackjack. Like here, where they're taking a commission based on.
Yeah, but they take commission only on bankers. So because
I know, but-
bankers are a
So they're
slight
net up 2.5.
advantage. You bet
I know, but players losing because
Yeah,
of the
6
tie or
hundred.
something, right? Like,
Speaking of
You
blackjack.
can
that's a
bet
shove.
player bank. Everyone bets.
yeah.
Oh, these
So the
conversations are
okay,
fun.
Banker wins.
All right, we've got a raise and a re-raise in between.
What is it, 20.2?
5-4 of diamonds, Jorge here.
0.2%.
Gonna release and 5 high takes it down.
Point 2, I don't know. I don't know.
Pay it.
Could have been some spicy flops there between
But the net is
ace 3 and the 5-4 of diamonds. It's not to be.
for the player. They're just collecting the commission.
Well, I mean, they also pay up bets. It's not 1-to-1. Like, you can bet player, nobody bets banker. Nobody bets banker.
No. So,
Right? Like,
so the
then they
house
pay
is
up.
the opposite.
They're
So if you
up-
bet banker, they're the
yeah, the house is
player.
always
The
the
player,
opposite.
they're the
Yeah.
opposite. That's it.
But they're getting a commission.
They're getting commission only on banker.
Only on banker. Only on banker. Yeah. You can also bet tie, I know that.
Yeah, 9-1.
Ah, some
I
good
won.
sucker
I
bets.
won.
You gotta go
I
for
never bet
those.
the like the prop bets. Believe it or not, it's shocking. I know. I never bet the prop
I
bets,
thought you'd be all over that, AJ.
dude.
Anybody that has
If
gone
I
to a
see you in
casino
Vegas,
before
you'll understand.
is likely aware of the
You'll
fact that
just get it.
No, I mean,
all of
You'll
the
be
little
like,
side
that's
bets
why.
that they
I
offer
already
you
get it, but I try not to get it
are
anymore, you know?
terrible
I don't want to get it.
with the player. And fantastic for the
I
house.
thought about doing something crazy there, but I'm changing my mind.
So generally speaking, not advised. If you're looking to have a good time and you like playing those side bets and maybe a little superstitious about rolling snake eyes or stuff like that, you know, go for it.
I don't have that
But
much gambling experience, but
if you're there to try to preserve
they have, you can bet like the hard
your
eight.
chips for as long as
And then on the
possible, have a
side,
good
it's like
time,
the
get some
big
drinks,
red eight.
whatever.
And the
Stay
big
away
red eight
from
pays
side
1-to-1, but
bets,
the hard
prop
eight pays like
bets,
3-1.
whatever you want to call
It's
them.
the exact same
Bets
bet, but this one's big and red.
So
usually just going to be a good way to torch even more money even faster.
You know, you're sitting down, you're drinking.
We are still 4 players on the
Yeah.
turn. Fire here with best hand top pair and a gutty. NB here up and down. JD with a turn flush draw to go with his bottom pair. And a gut shot. 5 of diamonds on the end changes nothing. Fire here will finish with the best hand. If we get to showdown with 1300 in the middle, NB here. See if he goes for a bluff. He does not. Shuts it down. And JD, he's got just a smidge of showdown value, so he's going to check as well, and Fire will get to turn over the winning hand. Take this one down. That'll move him a little bit back in the positive direction.
So you would have 8 there. You'd be the first 3 cards. I would have 4. 8 and 6 is 4. So you would win.
Still
whatever
stuck, but not
side
nearly
bet.
as much.
And if you wait till it's one, I win, you're like, oh, see. The other thing you know about Baccarat is that when the table's full, whoever bets the most is the person who gets to sweat the player hand, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you bet the most on banker, you get the.
I won't play if you don't squeeze. if like because on low stakes baccarat, they just deal for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not.
So if you bet banker, does somebody feel banker and somebody feel player? Like how does that work?
Well, yeah, if you're betting like
Opposites?
opposite each other,
Yeah.
yeah. And so,
Is it often that there's a table where somebody's betting massive on banker and somebody's betting massive on player, and they're like,
it doesn't happen that often.
Yeah.
A lot of times people are a little superstitious.
yeah.
So they're like, yeah, I don't want to play against that guy. And
Yeah.
they're not playing against that guy. I don't.
But it's like
understand
rooting. It's like playing the don't pass line of craps, you know? Like if I win, you have to lose. Kind of thing,
Yeah, that's exactly right. You're not really playing against them, but you kind of actually are, right?
Yeah.
Like,
In spirit, you are.
it's a 50-50 at any given time. You know, so no, I'm not betting against you.
I mean, I hear what he's saying. He's literally not like benefiting from the other guy losing, but at the same time, you winning is conditional upon them losing because you've taken the other side of the bet. And that's the aspect of it where people get crusty, right? Where it's, yeah, it's like JD said, where people play the don't pass line and sort of bet with, you know, quote unquote, with the house when it comes to craps and such. So, yeah, I mean, you'll get people real bent if you come in and start betting against, quote unquote, against them. And I don't know. I mean, you actually have better odds if you bet with the house, right? Statistically speaking, when it comes to craps, and same with baccarat. Of course, you do have to pay the commission, and so I suspect it's very close in terms of, you know, your winning edge or your losing edge, like how big that is. But yeah, I mean, people just generally speaking like to play the player side in craps. It's more exciting. You get better odds on your wins, right? You make more when you win than if you bet with the house. So in that respect, it is just more, I think, just more fun for everybody to play together. But at the same time, there's really nothing stopping everybody from being like, hey, so let's all just play with the house, like on these, and let's try to roll sevens. Let's try to crap out, you know? Like, let's just ride our cooler or whatever you want to say it, and get slightly better odds. But anyways, I've rarely seen that, if ever. Battle of the middling pocket pairs here, 9s versus 10s. We are going to go heads up to a flop here after an open and a 3-bet. Comes 8-8 deuce rainbow. Both of these players should feel pretty good about this board. And B here.
Yeah,
they only use
that's
once.
happened a few times.
They only use it
Well
once,
up
right?
front,
The
you can see
So you
from
can just
the
crumble them up.
mucked cards that David is just stone drawing dead.
They flip a 9, you're like, they're never going to use them.
Yeah, they don't really
No,
use
the
it. They use it one
dealers
time,
don't
and that's it.
necessarily like it, but
Yeah. The baccarat, they use it.
RS Actuary says you're never playing with the house. Those bets have a house edge as well. You're absolutely right, and it's just taking the other side of the bet. You are still losing in the long run, but the odds are slightly better, and so you could take that side of the wagers, which is traditionally thought of as the house side because, you know, when the shooter craps out, right, or rolls a 7, whatever, the house scoops all those bets in and would pay out the other ones. So it's, I hear what you're saying.
no, I'll tell you a story after the stream.
The spirit of it is player and house. All right, check call, a bet of 550 on the flop. NB checks once again, and David here very likely still thinking that he is going for value against something like 7s, 6s, 5s, things of that nature, perhaps even a sticky ace-king. Here betting 1,400 into 3,000. This is half pot, so he's not really targeting the ace highs of the world that much anymore.
Teach me some stuff, Nathan, not this. Don't teach me this.
Guess NB could maybe just sort of call down with ace-king, hoping to chop or beat ace-queen or something like that, but nonetheless, I think this is just targeting the smaller pairs. NB here, though, with the 10s, shouldn't really be too worried quite yet. I mean, yeah, he can certainly be behind, but like, You're not going to have many better hands here.
That's crazy.
That would be my thought process
Hardy can.
I
in
can.
any case.
You
I
can?
can now.
You told me that you were not going.
Let's see if he just stuffs it in here to take away all the decisions on the river, right? I mean, imagine like a king or an ace peels off on the end. Is he going to want to check
You
again?
The 25k, the 50k.
I don't know. Maybe you let your opponent just keep bluffing if they've got bluffs, or
Just max out all
who
the
knows.
student
But NB in the tank
Are
here.
the
investment.
are the 25.
You can tell your academic advisor, it's like, I have an ROI in these tournaments, okay? Listen.
You just need money and luck.
I think he
That's all.
feels
And the
that
student
his
loans are
hand
mine.
is too
Yeah.
good to
Halfway
fold.
there.
Money for the
Perhaps
buy
just
and luck for
really walking that line between like, do I just stuff it in or call?
Glory.
And the stacked pot ratio is already at a place where if he calls now, almost all the chips just have to go in on the river, regardless of what the card is. And so that's why I think it's sort of a binary decision here, all in or fold. And folding to me doesn't seem right play. Of course, I can see the cards. I'm not sitting there feeling the pressure with my pocket tens right now, but Daniel Gunther, if you want to see players lose their minds, go to a casino, play blackjack, and split 20 when the dealer shows a 5 or a 6. Yeah, that'll steam somebody up for sure. Pretty much just do anything that's like off the beaten path in blackjack, you'll steam some people up. Wow, NB is going to release the pocket tens, folds the best hand, and David gets one through? I mean, he's just betting his nines for value, not suspecting that a better hand is actually going to fold, but he does indeed get those tens to hit the muck. And NB, after that hand, is actually stuck now, down 165. Reina would leave the table. He'd tilt Reina right out of the room. That's funny. Yeah, when I play blackjack, I will tell you that I prefer to be the player in the like one seat or whatever. So you just like get to act, right? Like just make your decision. Just make your decision, and that's that.
the lucky chip, huh?
You're welcome.
3 players to a flopjack high. Top pair here for Jorge. Gut shot, backdoor spades for AJ. 1 overcard. And some hearts here for Venom. Bet, call, call. So 3 players to the 8 of spades on the turn. No improvement in equity here for Benham, but extra spade does give additional equity here for AJ, who is going to bet, wants to check 2. Relatively small bet here, 400 into 11, so a little under half pot. Venom calls here with the 8s high. This is rather speculative. Still has Jorge left to act behind as well, and yeah, this is the most unfortunate of situations here for Venom, and the ace high raised to 1.6K. And now AJ here, he's like, maybe I should have just checked and tried to get to showdown, and now I'm in this weird spot. Yeah, it's a combo draw, but it's a pretty bad one. Yeah, he's just gonna let this go. Makes a lot of sense. I mean, he could just be like completely toast up against like Queen Jack of Spades or something, right? Where you just like, you can't improve with a pair, you can't improve with a flush. Like you really just have to hit your gutty, and Queen of
Or you try
spades
that shit on me
on
my
its
base
back
and
here.
I'll fuck you up,
Jorge will show down
right? I'll let you know, but
his kicker. Jorge up $7,000, over 12K in the stack. NB down 165. So hang in right about even. Benham here going to come in for an open in the hijack. 10-7 suited.
27.
Pocket eights here could definitely squeeze or just call if you're Jorge. He is going to go for the squeeze. Cashman lets the sevens go immediately. Yeah, he doesn't really have many options once the squeeze gets taken away. Back over to Benham. God, he's just dwindled down to, yeah, a stack size that is very difficult to play a 3-bet pot with. If you call, stack to pot ratio, you're going to be so close to 1 that you really won't have a lot of maneuverability. And if you just like make a pair with a 10 or a 7, you're just going to kind of be committed to it. Yeah, it feels bad. Really just going to have to focus on getting high cards and pairs if you're going to play a 3-bet pot for sure. You definitely see this a lot in tournaments, right? I mean, I've had to deal with this nonstop for the last couple of weeks, where because you're in a tournament format, the blinds are constantly increasing and the average chip stack constantly dwindling down to, I mean, in some of these fields, right, like people were bagging the chip leads for day 2 and they had like 50 big blinds. Like the chip leader had 50 big blinds. I mean, the average was like 17 to 20 big blinds for some of these fields, advancing to day 2s. And I mean, it's just bananas, you know, the entire field is short stacked. And when you get into those sort of scenarios, it's like, if you flop top pair, like, you're getting all the chips in. Like, it's just really hard to fold top pair when you only have 20 big blinds. Sometimes, you know, you get down to 15 blinds, 10, you know, you just have any pair, any sort of strong draw, and you just have to get all the money in.
Yeah, with that significant action, that's just going to be a dead hand, unfortunately.
Still burn and as normal?
Yeah, just burn as normal. It's just a dead hand.
Looks like we had a floor ruling. Don't know exactly what happened there. Couldn't quite see what we missed, but
Yeah, raise certified call and
we're going to go heads up to a flop between JD and Jorge. JD with the betting lead. And still with the best hand. Jack 5 deuce. There we go. Got the graphics corrected. Checky, checky. Queen of clubs now on the turn. Things getting worse for the pair of sevens. If JD checks again, Jorge here not gonna try to bet his opponent off of a better ace high. Pretty good spot, all things considered, with the ace of clubs in hand to go for a small probe there on the turn. Ace king may not fold, but like the 4 of clubs peels off, you've got the perfect card to bluff. Just a lot of good things there for the naked ace of clubs to start betting on the turn. But let's just go check all the way down. JD will win with 7.
It's confusing because the 1K chip and the $1 chip are similar. It's impossible for them to make them all different. It's crazy.
These are the I'm pretty used to, so I'm not this shit. Maybe because the light.
Here we are, hand number 40. JD gonna get to open his button. King 6 suited, and Jorge waking up with kings. Yeah, JD here, he's like, we're a little too deep to be playing hands like this. Yes, I could make some strong flushes, but really got some reverse implied odds about making a top pair with a king sort of hand. So let's go. Bill James says he knows that you can't bluff JD. That's very true. Sometimes when you have a reputation as a really strong and tricky player, especially like playing out of position in very strong ways, it will put the fear of God into your opponents, right? They're like, oh God, like I should probably bet here, but like, what if he check raises me? You know, you just once you get that little nagging fear of your opponent doing something that's going to make you really uncomfortable, it can definitely affect you. The thing is, though, that it's really important to remember the difference between betting with a hand that is going to be really uncomfortable if you get check raised, and betting with a hand that's going to be like, oh, cool, all right, I fold. Like, that's no big, that's whatever, you know? Like, literally, if he probes with the ace-8 off there, and JD hits him with the check raise, like, you just snap fold it. You just don't care. You're like, okay, I lose. But if you bet a hand like a jack there, this is like a thing that some people will do. They'll like check back a jack trying to be like tricky or something, and then a queen comes on the turn, their opponent checks to him again, they're like, oh, well, I didn't bet the flop. I guess what my plan was to like try to get some money in here. So now I bet the turn, and you get check raised. Now you're like, what the hell do I do? Right? That's a really awkward spot. It's really painful. So there's a big difference between those two scenarios, and really important as a player to be able to identify what kind of a scenario you're in, and don't be too worried about it. Even if you are up against one of those strong players that's going to hit you with the business, still should be bluffing. Still should be bluffing. All right, fresh deck coming out. Looks like we had maybe some misreads going on, something of that nature. Bill James, yeah, echoing what I was saying exactly. Could have bet the club turn to bluff the river club. Exactly. Yeah, having the ace of clubs is exactly why his hand was such a good bluff. And then not only that, but like your opponent has just checked you twice. Certainly JD going to be capable of checking some top pairs on the flop, having some hands that will have improved to top pair on the turn, but he's just not going to have very many of them. Like he will have them. It's not like you just completely cap him, but he is still going to be relatively capped in those spots where he checks flop, checks turn. And having the ace of clubs is just a brilliant spot. Anyways, won't kick that horse any longer as we've got the dirty diaper in the mix, flopping 2 pair. NB though drills this with trip 5s. Venom here going to bet his dirty diaper. I was just hoping to take it down there, but of course, NB not going anywhere. King the clubs now on the turn. Venom here drawing dead, but still betting. Half pot. Perhaps just putting NB on some sort of like 2 overs and backdoors. Ace-8 of hearts or something like that. That was just like, I guess I'll see a turn, see what happens. But yeah, now he's going to get raised and time to let it go.
They were 10-handed here where they started.
Were they?
Yeah.
I don't remember that well.
For not long.
Yeah, maybe 2 months or something.
Yeah, maybe less than that even.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Actually, I'm trying to think. Maybe they weren't here. I knew they were on the stream for the first like couple weeks of the stream. I don't know if the main games actually were 10-handed. Yeah. I've been in clubs back in the day that were 10-handed.
Yeah, wow, interesting.
TCH's first 2 weeks of stream was all 10-handed. They're like, we need more players, more action, you know? They don't want to see people like raise and take it down. You know, like, oh, there's a bunch of players there, you know? And
Yeah.
you can run into some more coolers or something. That was the theory now.
Jorge here I had kings just a moment ago. It's time to play aces now.
We've had some shorter handed streams. It's fun.
Those streams are crazy.
450.
Way back?
Yeah. That was before I was even like playing poker.
Venom here goes for the 3-piece with the 8-7 suited out of the blind. Generally speaking, pretty reasonable play. But once again, here we are in a situation where, yeah, he can't play these 3-4 bet pots because he just doesn't have enough chips. So he's going to have to let that one go. Venom drops further down on the list there, stuck 7,000 now. Jorge here definitely running pure so far, up $8,000.
You want some change?
Has made some pretty good decisions in a couple of pots, and by and large just running really well. Kings several times, aces.
Because I lose a lot.
Hey, I'm good at throwing too. So.
You were playing 2000, right? Yes, yes. Throw him. It's not unreal.
Yeah, it's all.
I think not yet. I just have one chance. It goes against you.
Blind raise. Blind raise.
Like this is something.
Raise the 125.
Harvey here, the ace jack, raise it up and gets one caller out of David in the straddle. Two overs and a gut shot here for David.
It's all about the sea trial, you know? It's all about the sea trial. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it is.
Ace high, still good for your Harvey here.
One is gonna get all the luck to flop at least.
Bear with us on the graphics there. Okay, you have everything updated.
I'm glad I showed that ace queen in because I only got to play the hand since.
David here probes for $100 and gets called by Harvey. 10 now on the end. David here gonna need to go for another bet. 490 in the middle.
5,000.
Okay, yeah.
See what he decides. 350, 450, 450. So opts for the large size.
Good time. It's really good news, right?
Harvey here, he's like,
Show your card. Bam. The turn.
Ace high felt pretty good on the turn.
Never had
10 definitely does improve some hands, but he does make the call with the ace high there and will show it down as the winner. Dragging a nice $1,400 pot. David's like, thought you would fold that hand. NB now up $5 on the night. That man can go to Taco Bell if he wants to. Let's go.
Fire. YG been teaching you? That's what, you play YG style now?
I haven't had Taco Bell in quite some time.
No.
It is Taco Bell Tuesday, and might just have to swing by there and grab an item or two after the stream.
3 days ago, you play 5-handed with Peter.
Pocket Kings going around AJ's turn this time in the cutoff. Venom here trying to get something, anything going. He's going to flat with the Jack-9 off.
How do you do?
On the
How
butt.
do you do? Probably pretty good?
See if he can connect with a flop that doesn't just seal his fate against the Pocket Kings. And, well, that's the second best result, which is to completely whiff it such that you don't lose any more money.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. You might have already texted me, I don't even know.
Although Venom here doesn't give AJ credit for anything that's on that board, of course, and so he's going to float one time. AJ checks, he's like, okay, I mean, maybe you got something? Ooh, he does now. Bad river here for Venom. 700 in the middle, AJ.
You're the what? Yeah, it's hard to stack YG, but hey, you got a better shot at it.
Lining up for a
for sure.
2/3 size. And Benham goes all in. He thinks he's going in for value with the top pair on the river, and instead is just torching the rest of it. Unfortunately for him, AJ has the king, snaps him off with kings up, and that is going to scoop the rest
I'm done.
of the chip.
Bring Danny in here. I just saw Danny. Where he?
All right, GG Benham, tough night.
Yeah.
Know how that goes. Sometimes it just doesn't line up for you, and that's the way the cookie crumbles here. So Benham going to take his leave. We'll see you next time. As we continue here on to the halfway point of the broadcast, 7:51 Central Time. Uh-oh, NB paid his small blind. He's not going to T-bell anymore. Ugh, you hate to see it. All right, Cashman here with a suited 10-9 under the gun. He's going to open this up. Harvey next to act. Ace Queen just going to make the call. That'll bring Jorge in from the straddle as well, so 3 players to a flop. Jack 9-5. Couple of pairs out there. Now the top card pairing here on the turn after we check all the way through. Going to make Cashman feel pretty good about his holdings. Jorge honestly doesn't hate this situation either, so he'll go for a little probe just to see if he can take this down. But Cashman makes the call. Here we go to a river, 8 of hearts. Yeah, and Jorge's got to realize that his hand is probably no good, but yeah, he's going to take the passive route. Definitely don't go turning all of your pairs into bluffs very often. You're going to have some other stuff that you can do that with, primarily a 10. Something like 10-8. Be a lot better to turn into a bluff there on the end, so like the play. Yeah, 14 days to Vegas, says Raina. Absolutely, with ADC Scooter here. Wish you all the best out there. Hope you run pure. Hopefully I run pure as well when I head back out there. Be awesome to get some TCH live chat regs popping off in the main event. Get some TV time in, some featured tables, you know.
I object. I object.
All right, heads up between Jorge and NB. Middle pair for Jorge, checky checky.
I can trade some.
NB's out of
It's
there.
not gonna be temporary, by the way. I'm just saying you're not gonna get them. You're not gonna have chips left to trade back. So.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I might need to buy more. 5?
Just the right color. This is a 5K here. Way better than the other ones.
Socks and flip-flops incoming. Who do we got joining us here in the 3 seat?
Yeah, it's better, right? The other ones are bad. These ones? Those are play.
Deep stack, final 6.
I don't think so.
Played 3 tournaments.
We've never had to trade chips before. This is the first time ever. We've never had to trade chips before. Like usually it's just like this is the only place. So.
Okay.
Supposed to swap up instead of trading for us, but I don't know. We'll see.
They said it's going to be put on the back burner. Too much.
July?
It's too difficult. They have to get like a Brinks truck and trade back and forth. We never had to trade chips for poker houses because they were just, you know, committing financial crimes and not reporting it. That was convenient, you know.
Folds to David here on the button. He'll open a suited queen. Jorge gonna hit him with the 3-piece pocket nines out of the big blind.
A lot of people don't
Take that one down.
that, or no way ever use chips.
Well, I mean, if that wasn't a thing, everyone would just cash out.
I know, but like,
We've got Danny
Or just like
sit
a-
down in the 3 seat, 5.5K in the stack.
everybody cashed out. I feel like over there because like, when they could, they had to just. You want to hold on many chips? You know, but, like, we were also.
Yeah, but also, they didn't like file anything.
When we first started playing over there, they were like on top of it. Like there was a lot of pushback. I just give myself, yeah, it's fine. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean,
But all the other people were like, no.
you kind of want them to. You kind of want them to be doing it correctly.
I know, that's what I always said. But then there was no pushback from other people. Like then they were just kind of like, I think we were the only people they were ever going to file paperwork against. And then they were just kind of, you know.
No, I mean, I kind of want them to be doing everything.
Envy limps the Jack-9 suited. David raises it up with the Queen-Jack. JD squeezes the button with the pocket 6s. AJ has the other 2 6s. Black versus red, but yeah, he's out of there. So no quads or a set for JD. Have to just win with the pair. And he will indeed.
I'll prepay this time.
Without the starting on this game again. Not in game? Yeah?
You want to do the game again now?
Need game again? No?
Some grumbling in response to getting the Nick game back up, but we are indeed going to have the Nick game
Start now?
reinstated.
If you lost the last one, you have to play.
Convenient timing.
It's always funny. You've got like that one person, maybe 2, that are like, oh, I don't know if I really want to play. Everyone else is like, come on. And then they're just like, okay. Like, peer pressure, man. It's
You
real.
shouldn't have to play the next one around.
But it's good for the
He did.
Nick game. I mean, the Nick game, it's
Neil
fun.
sent me into a.
It does suck to
dark,
lose
dark
it.
place
That,
last
that
night.
is for sure. It sucks to lose the Nick game. But all you got to do is win a hand. I mean, you just got to win a hand.
Almost.
It's easy. Easier said than done sometimes, I'll tell you what. There were times over the last couple of weeks in these tournaments I didn't feel like I could win a hand on my entire bullet. Spicy situation developing here. Early middle position open here from Fire. JD calls. Cashman squeezes. Now Harvey wakes up with the ace-queen suited. Next to act and is like,
So there was no such thing, so they kept.
it's like a pretty good spot for me to just re-squeeze.
Boston.
Pops it up to 950 now.
Yeah. Good time to start, no?
Conman 72. You actually have to suck to lose? I mean, I'm not sure if you played poker before, but definitely lost plenty of time playing what I think is pretty good.
But in junior high, they called
We've
me
all
Ho
seen it happen,
today.
so I don't think that's necessarily a true statement. But, you know, losing the Nick game. We have seen like JD very uncommonly losing the Nick game, but has done it. So, I don't know, does JD suck? I don't know.
JD, and some guys tell me
Heads up here between Harvey and Cashman. All the Broadway Diamonds represented. It's going to be top on the flop for Harvey.
Yeah. There's a lot of JDs
Cashman
that-
does have a
lot of JDs.
gutty and one overcard.
Faces also.
There's a small C-bet as well, so for 400, definitely a spot where he could just peel one off and like drill a 10 sometimes.
Yeah, my name, John.
Instead, he's going to go for the check raise. Certainly another reasonable way to play this. Cashman, the original pre-flop raiser from the small blind, got 4-bet, cold 4-bet from Harvey. This is a little bit of a dangerous spot, but he can have some 9s, some 6s,
My first online name was
even
Dead Money.
queens. Of course, I don't think you're going to check raise queens in this board texture. Ace now on the turn. It's top 2 for Harvey. Cashman here still just looking for a 10. And yeah, this card is pretty rough. I mean, if you do have a set of 9s or a set of 6s, like, you're still going to stuff it. And so, yeah, sure enough, he does. But he's just running right into it. Harvey here
I have hope.
makes the call, and Cashman needs a 10.
Hope and heart.
That is not it. They're going to run it
That's me. That's me. That's me. Just go.
Big.
twice.
Deuces.
Run it twice. Doesn't matter.
Deuces.
I
You're like, hey,
don't know. We panned away there.
Yeah. His queen is good today.
Cashman, you can look.
And Cashman is getting scooped. Yeah, I couldn't imagine that there was some sort of 10 on the river that we were just missing. So, yeah, tough spot there. Cashman goes for it and just kind of runs into it. So, good heart, bad result. He will reach into the pouch, pull out fresh brick, and get reloaded.
We did show you.
Yeah.
Who's sitting here?
What was his name?
Venom. Do you know Venom?
Send it out.
Where do you get him?
Looking at the VPIPs there, everybody playing a reasonable amount of hands. Cashman down under 20%. Everybody else mid-20s, they're about. NB, AJ, and Jorge all playing over 33% of hands. Relatively small sample size. We're only on hand number 51 here at the halfway mark. Presume we'll be getting a PLO flip here before long. Conman says, nice flop bet by Harvey to induce. Yeah, I mean, it certainly worked out that way. Absolutely right. Yeah, had he bet larger,
Cashman's 7.
King Jack likely wouldn't have felt as incentivized to go for the check raise. You are correct.
You want some chips? Here, make sure.
All right, what do we got here? We got a raise to 150 by David. Re-raise, Jorge Cashman. Immediately comes in for the min click, cold 4-bet on the button. Looking to get right back into things. Nick game is on, of course. Jorge will make the call. And here we go, already nearly 2,500 in the middle. Cashman still waiting for the rest of his chips to arrive. There we go. Brick flop here for both players. So Cashman will get to C-bet and take this one down. Shows down the winning King 10, gets rid of his knit button, and scoops the pot.
Not the skirt, huh?
Same hand as Same hand as
Cool. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right, so it looks like we're just going to continue along with 2 cards for the time being.
Nope. I want him to know what I have.
Suited connector up front for David. And Cashman getting after it here.
Anyone know the dealer that got second? Is he gonna start playing full time? 1025?
I hope so. How much?
He won 300.
300.
Yeah.
Harvey out of the way.
He was a dealer, right?
Yeah.
Not full-time poker.
Maybe. You never know. I heard he wants to challenge Cashman to heads up for rolls.
Full-time tournaments right now.
What's that?
David makes the call, and here we go.
maybe.
Heads up
That
between
would-
these two
it would go
players.
fast.
$1,000 in the middle.
He
Comes
has all
7
the
high.
series.
Yeah, he's gonna fire the rest of the series, and then it's gonna be tax time, and he's gonna be like, "Oh, I don't have any left." No, good for him. That's awesome.
Bet a 500 here from
I
Cashman in
was at
position with the
social
over
when he
pair.
rivered a 9. Oh, you were there. So, yeah, like I really hope somebody caught it on video for him. Like if that was me, I would feel so special like hearing that. So yeah, good for him.
Check call from David. No improvement on the turn.
That's why I wanted to make table. I gotta wait for the main, I guess.
Cashman here has the 10 of diamonds. It's a good card for him to have.
So you're not gonna try anything?
A little bit of an awkward spot. Like you don't really want to check back, but you also don't love this spot. Yeah, another spot for just small bet in position.
Maybe less disciplined than I should be, but because
It's a little bit on the
When you're
super
ready to
small
play the
side,
main, hit me up.
like under 1/3 pot.
our coach
I
texted
want
me
more
and said I have
action this
discipline.
year.
We're pretty close to
Our
1/3.
coach
Okay,
texted me and said I have discipline.
pretty reasonable. David here though is like, all right, can't really go anywhere just yet. Makes the call, needs to find a 7
like, not like well
or
where
an
I have
8
action,
here on the end to
but,
improve.
I used to play. You know who Paul Washka is? He got second to
dice.
Jamie Gold.
Another diamond.
I
Cashman now
was
playing
in college at the
a
time,
10
and
high diamond
I actually played with
flush.
him in my underground games.
Jack high with a
Like,
10 of
me and
course.
me were like the two
For all
more
of those
serious
women
players.
actually people out there. Let's see if
I don't think
Cashman
he plays
here
anymore.
just checks this back and takes a showdown.
Yeah.
Really tough to get called by a hand
Sippy
that
cup.
you're beating, unless you were just up against like exactly 9s with the 9 of diamonds, and you could bet like a little bit. But yeah, reopening the pot just feels terrible there. I like the check back. He'll take this one down. Still got pretty good value out of the flop top pair as well.
Are you not going to push?
Yeah, pretty much. He's gonna come give an official announcement. Yeah, Aaron didn't make
Deal.
I'm gonna try and make sure this Nick game goes on forever. Just win every hand until.
Yeah, do it.
I'm gonna try.
We'll all chop it. All of us will owe you $10 each. Or 20,
I don't think
whatever.
so. Huh?
I couldn't go anywhere.
I don't think so.
Oh yeah, Jim. He didn't. He hasn't been playing quite as much, right?
You can play, but yeah, no satellite or whatever this year.
Kicker problems with the
One and
51.
done,
Nice.
successful, you know?
Squeaking it in there.
I've only played one.
Folds to Jorge in the low jack.
Yeah, there were a lot of deep runs last year.
He'll open it up.
On something.
Brant got like top 200, right? Or top 400, something
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. But he wasn't part of the.
David makes the call from the straddle. 4-3 off. Bricks this as hard as you usually do with 4-3 off. Jorge will c-bet and win.
I need a new like final table for me to break through. Maybe not final table, like top 30. I had like a 1% man. A little piece, but usually hit for like 200K.
Could have been nice.
Yeah.
Said he, David hadn't been. David, see the 6? Correct.
For you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, Jorge here under the gun with the deuces. Deuces never loses, so he's going to open it up. AJ here feeling frisky in the cutoff with Jack 10 off. Makes the call. NB here, a couple of 5s. Does he want to set mine this flop? He does. JD will complete with the ace-4. And here we go. 4 players to a flop.
That's not that funny, huh?
Yeah,
My bad.
10-9-6. Top pair for AJ. Whole lot of nothing for everybody else. He'll just take this one down.
From some Nelly song.
No resistance. Get rid of the knit button.
Hey guys, real
In
quick.
the
So
process.
we're really well about to have a dealer change, but our second dealer called out and John said he will agree to stay. Y'all can go ahead and do another flip.
Flip.
After the flip, I will take like the 15, 20.
All right, it is time for a flip.
Flip.
I'm going to step out
PLO flip. Like
for just a moment. Let you guys enjoy this
Oh,
fine
you weren't here.
PLO flip
So we do
action.
a start, middle,
I'll be
end. We'll do
back in
100,
a
100,
bit.
usually 200 at the end.
Perfect.
And we pull 50 for
You're
the
gonna back blast.
commentators or whatever. Staff, back staff.
If you say don't, it's up there. Okay. 25. Yeah, and then 2 purple chips or what's going on?
Alright, I just need ace of diamonds. Give me ace of diamonds. Queen of diamonds.
Does the squeaky chair make it on the screen?
One board.
One board. Just turn it out.
50 or 100?
I pulled the 50 for the back stuff, for the out of the floor.
Oh, okay.
So we pull 50, 50, 50. It's like 150 for the day or whatever. I have nothing. I need a 6.
I need a 5.
Queen high.
I need a 5.
I need a 6.
You need a 5?
Or 7.
Or 7?
6. 6. Who's winning? Oh, you got chips. Well played. Well played.
2 for 2.
3,500
2 for 2? For him. Did you win the first flip too?
Cooper's gonna come out for a minute.
If you swoop all 3, then you get banned. Banned. Obviously, you know something's up. 2 for 3.
Oh, we got a rookie on the box.
Do you know how to deal?
What? No. Well, I need you guys to help me.
Deal 4 cards just like he did.
All right, looks like I got back just in time for that flip to be over.
Have you ever pitched these cards ever?
And
Play anything else.
we'll continue along. Back half of the show. Hope you guys are enjoying yourselves. If you are, and you haven't already, please do consider striking the like button for us. It does help us out.
Yeah, you mentioned it.
I got 2 cards, Cooper.
What's up?
2 cards.
Oh, sure.
And we'll start things off with a misdeal.
These cards are tough. These cards are real tough. So I was like trying to check. I was like, ah.
He's nervous. I see you shaking a little bit.
Okay, I'm always. I don't have steady hands. I got super slow, so the cards don't stick together. There's one. Oh, see? He came out right there. That was on purpose. Oh. There's 150.
Jedi Master Ted struck the like button with the force of 1,000 ostriches. Do appreciate that. Raised to 150 and a call. front. Sorry, hijack small blind. David here in the big blind, raising it to the big chunky squeeze size. 750 to go. But AJ is tired of folding. He's going to come along. This is a dangerous situation. We'll get to play in position for the remainder of the hand. Also does invite fire along with the suited queen 7, and already got an inflated pot here going 3 ways. David, man in the middle with the betting lead, and it comes 7-7. If AJ doesn't call there, fire folds for sure, but instead it's trip 7s on the flop for fire, and this is a very disguised hand. We have a couple of draws out there, pocket 8s, pocket 7s, some things that did just like really connect with this well, but David here could be in dire straits for sure. Stack pot ratio under 2. With the overpair. No club in hand. Fire check calls. The bet of 800. Pot up to 3,900. 5 of spades now on the turn.
This is the same area. Very close.
David here eyeing up his opponent's stack. Yeah, it's a stacked pot ratio a little over 1. Might just be a spot that you rip it here. You choose an in-between size, planning to call off if they go all in. Yeah, goes all in. Fire's like, yeah, I got the 7, I call. And David needs to hit a miracle king here. The king of clubs, the only one left in the deck. Can he hit it? He cannot. It's a 3 of diamonds. Oh, we're going to run it twice. It's a 3 and a 10, and there's the queen 7, and David gonna have to be wondering, like, what on earth are these guys calling me with?
45?
Fire here, getting the dub. $12,635 going the way of that man right there, and Fire chipping up nicely. That should get him well out of the hole and into the positive.
A burst of cash.
We'll get the chip counts up here momentarily, but David getting a reload out as we see Fire there. Yeah, pretty much went from minus 2K to plus 4,700.
Yeah, no, I think your style is right. I have chips. Yeah, I'm pretty aggressive as it is, but with chips I'm like
The almost format to actually format ratio is like 10 to 1 with JD. It's almost. I've never seen it.
I wish it was.
The only time it's not almost is when he has aces. Like every other time it's I almost did it, you know.
Going out 6 on a cooler.
All right, reload incoming.
If I didn't have to fly the next day, I'd like drink that night.
Ooh, 3 of spades. Not coming.
Some blacks and the rest.
How much are you behind? I'm sorry.
10,000 behind for C6. Raised over 25.
Harvey raising it up from under the gun with the king-queen. Jorge makes the call from the straddle. Pocket 3s went in the muck as one of the 3s was burned. Jorge here flopping 9s and 4s. Harvey with the 2 overcards. A lot of times these boards just going to be bet and take it down, so he'll put a little 150 out there, half pot. Jorge just gonna go for the check call. Once in a while you'll see a little check raise here, but even then, player's quite deep, so pocket 4 is just happy to play this one to showdown as cheaply as possible. Harvey gets to see The king on the turn checks it back, and there is the case 3 on the end. Not that pocket 3s would probably be in here by this stage of the hand, but Harvey does finish with the best hand and bets 500 into 6. Jorge here does have a diamond, and with Harvey checking back the king on the turn, he's got to ask himself, well, what does he actually have here? And not only like what does he check back on the turn and then bluff river with? Because like queen 10, queen jack, jack 10, like those are all still going to be bluffing on the turn. Like a king is just a good card to keep bluffing, right? So you'd have to imagine this is something like just ace 10, ace jack, ace 5 suited. There's just not a lot of these hands, but yeah, Jorge is going to be like, I don't know, this just feels kind of fishy. Does pay it off, and Harvey will get rewarded with the bet check bet line. Once again, looking at the earnings there, Harvey up over 10,000, over 11,000, honestly. NB Danny hanging out in the middle, up and down, just a few $100. Back in the saddle here, Harvey. The ace jack off, he's just going to let this one go. Sometimes you feel like you're playing too many hands from out of position, and it just feels like the vibe is starting to get a little bit awkward. You're like, nah, it's time to just let this one go. I've been there many times before, and he does just let the ace jack slide into the muck. Here's a raise and a re-raise now from the low jack and the high jack, so feels pretty good about this. Danny will make the call, and we're going to go heads up to flop. 5-5, 3-2 tone. Full pot size bet here from NB, and he'll show the 10s and get rid of his nip button. Well, okay, there, the dealer takes it. I was going to say, he satisfied all of the requirements to get rid of it. He just didn't actually pitch it to the dealer. The dealer, of course, doing the Lord's work and being like, no, I'm not just going to let you hold on to that. JD and David with their nip buttons, as well as Danny. So 3 players still in the mix. Have to pay out $100 to everybody.
You don't want to look at this hand?
Danny here, suited ace-9 with the nip button. Under the gun, raises it up. Jorge and Cashman both waking up with pairs in the blind. They'll both call. Hell, Harvey's got a pair as well. Perhaps contemplating a squeeze, but yeah, this very much just feels like one of those spots where you just kind of come along for the ride. Harvey says, hell no. Get out of my pot. 7s are going to struggle to beat all these players, but I could maybe just take it down now. But HA, ace, king suited.
I'll tell him when it's 10, 9, 8, 7.
And yeah, and Harvey, I mean, it looks like Harvey's just squeezing here. So like ace, king suited is the nuts. I mean, this just looks like a free 1350 for him to reach out and grab. The only question is, how big does he make it? 7K the effective stack. He's going, ooh, wow. This is a big bet.
37.
3,700. AJ basically just being like, F y'all. Cold 4-bet squeezing to 4x over the already 3-bet squeeze. Gets the job done, takes the money. Now it's $5,000 in the stack.
I
Very
thought
nice.
about actually flattening and then doing that.
Sorry,
because
8,000.
I kind of, your style.
Bluffing. Harvey? Bluffing. Bluffing.
Sometimes. I don't do it a lot.
Okay.
Nah, I had a good hand. I did skinny.
Punish these kids, man. Punish these kids.
When you call and Chris calls and he's got the nip button, you're begging me.
It's a tell. When he takes 45 seconds pre-flop, it's always bluff. It's always bluff.
It's like 10 seconds in the tank. Chris is losing his mind.
Timing tells here.
I give you permission
Discuss.
to shoot me if I
Raise
have
150.
10 seconds to 3-bet a call.
The sailboats, JD with the ladies. Re-raising. David makes the call.
I was on him
Heads up to
yesterday
the
about
flop.
it, too.
JD with the betting lead in position comes Jack, Jack 10. A little bit of a scary board for both players. JD here, of course, the betting lead and the
Let's get
range
it, let's get
advantage.
it. Next week. Speed
Gonna
poker.
bet this at a very high
Have to lose.
frequency. Does put out a bet at 350.
Okay, I haven't let. I'm talking about it. We're playing a shot clock game.
Plenty
next
of
week.
ace, king, ace,
Harvey,
queen,
that
king,
was
queen
for the
type
cash
holdings
shot-
that
the
can
cash
bet
shot clock game, Harvey is banned.
this
for
flop
life.
that David is ahead of.
Criminal.
Just really tough to hold on across multiple streets, but David is going to make the call. 5 of diamonds on the turn, changes nothing. And now let's see if JD slows this down with a check back, or decides to go for his second street of value
We missed you, Dan.
right up front and see what develops. Hard blocks the queen jack suiteds of the world. And for Jack 10 suited, there's really only Jack 10 of spades remaining,
You have a day off.
given the card
out
removal
there.
that we can see there. So
Let me know.
very unlikely that David has a piece of this board. Certainly ace jack suited is possible.
One day off and I drink.
Queen jack of diamonds still available, whatever, right? I mean, there's a few combos here and there, but JD just bets, takes it down, shows the hand, gets rid of the nip button. We're down to 2 players,
Two short games.
David and Danny.
Cooper sits down,
Which
deals some beats, huh?
DA player will lose.
It's that action game. That's
Alright, back to no hands.
that was for Cooper. Yeah, you take it, John. Cooper doesn't care about $5 apparently.
$25 and $50 straddles on.
We're playing this one.
9:30, 9:30. It depends. Yeah, that's all.
I'm gonna.
Jerry, careful, we're picking up some audio.
Maybe today.
David here,
Depends on the lineup, you know.
big incentive to play this hand as his opponent with the nip button is in the straddle. Jorge waking up with 10s. Going to 3-bet that open. There's definitely a spot where you can get yourself into some very favorable situations when you know that your opponents with the nip button are going to be getting a little bit out of line. Definitely go for some good value in these spots. David is going to take this opportunity. He's like, all right, I only have to beat 1 player, and then I basically clear $900. Flops middle pair here, still well behind the 10s for Jorge, though. So a bet of 400 to 1/3. David will go for the check call. find an 8 or a 6 immediately to improve. 7, 4, something like that to give him some extra outs. But the queen of spades is no good. This board getting a little bit weird. So Jorge going to check this back. And it's a free river. It's the 7 of spades. A little too late here for David. Let's see if he now turns the 6 into a bluff. It's kind of an awkward spot. But does a king ever slow down on the turn? He's not sure. He's going to show this 6 down and hope that he is somehow good. But no, the pocket 10s will get rolled over. And David will have to fight for another pot another time. Good news there for Danny. Danny, of course, sweating this more than any other player at the table besides
You know that
David and Jorge.
you will let you know it.
You guys are lucky. You guys are lucky. JD almost played that hand.
Out of loss. You do.
Oh, you probably would have almost 4-bet and folded.
I put 4 bet 10s.
Of course.
Almost.
No, almost not.
Okay.
100%. There is not almost for me. It's 100 or 0%. It's like black or white.
No, there's no almost for JD either. He just says there is.
David's already out of the way. And Fire just limping under the gun here.
What's that? It's like half a straw.
So
Just a go.
pretty good chance that Danny will be allowed into this pot for a reasonable amount.
He almost rattled.
But he is just going to fold. We've got a misread here, so these hands could be all screwed up for the remainder of the hand. We're going to do our best. King 9 of clubs here, I think pretty reasonable holdings for Fire to actually be holding those cards. Not clear at all what Jorge's playing, but we see the 10 of hearts there. It's a possibility for one of his cards. Top and bottom pair for Fire. Gonna check call a bet of 100. Ace of diamonds now on the turn. Checky, checky. 6 of clubs. Finish things off, and let's see if Fire goes for value here. River probe.
Wrong play?
Half pot.
So long
Thank you.
Jorge gonna look it up. It's showing the 2 pair, and that's gonna be good enough. Oh, is that? No, King Jack. That's King Jack, not King 9. So that is just a pair of kings, the Jack kicker. So yeah, everything a little bit screwed up there due to the misread. All right, we'll put this hand in the rear view as we still do have the Nick game in effect. Hand number 63. Harvey still leading the way up over 10,000. Of our remaining players, David and Cashman stuck the most. Ooh, JD waking up with the birds. Number 1 under the gun. And he's got one of the nit players in the straddle. David wakes up with a very playable hand. He's certainly going to see a flop here and try to best the birds. Get rid of the nit button. Flops a pair and a backdoor flush draw. 1 overcard to the board.
All I ask is that you try your hardest. Big queen fight.
Quick check call. 640 in the middle. Board pairs the top card. Tough spot here for David. Very likely to get himself wrapped up in further damage. But quick check back from JD. And that is no good. 3 pair here for David. No good. JD playing aces up. But David here very likely to think that he's just improved to the best hand. With a king on the end, perhaps maybe up against pocket 9s, 10s, something like that. He's going to go for value to the tune of 500. And let's see if JD reopens the pot or just calls this one down. I think you check back the turn with every intention of going for a value bet / raising if your opponent does lead out. So I think JD here is gonna raise this up. That is 500 into 640. Yeah, it's a little over 3x to 1,700. God, this just feels so gross. If you're David, you're like, come on, man, I just want to win a pot. Go away. And JD checks back this turn. Like, he can have, I mean, it's a rainbow turn. He can have all the queens. Queen 10 suited, queen jack, off. I mean, like, this is a single raise pot, right? I mean, he can literally have an infinite number of queens. You can also just have a better king, right? Ace king. Kind of slows down, checks back the turn. Oh, but David is going to make the call. He's like, there's just that extra 900 floating around out there, too. And that king could be a good card for you to bluff. You know, he talked himself into it. JD gets the extra value.
You should. Just check fold the flop.
Oh, and with that pot, David moves down over 10K. And losses on the night. JD up 5,800.
Add-on run good, you know. You add on chips, aces instantly.
Oh, aces.
I almost threw it.
I know that feeling.
And I mean, you haven't played a hand in like for 3 hours, so I mean,
Yeah, no, I play queens.
I have to be careful, man.
Yeah. You're learning.
Fast.
That's
By what? For 700?
Danny here raising his button.
This game? More than welcome.
Jack 7 off. NB.
John can buy it for whatever he wants. John's always welcome.
Kind of flat the small blind.
That's my man. That's my man.
With the 5
Well traded. See that?
Okay.
Well traded.
This is getting out of hand.
I'll buy. You know what? I'll buy John in. I'll buy John in.
David and JD are in the mix, and we've got a whole bunch of speculative holdings here. Comes Jack high for Danny.
There we go.
Open ender for NB. Whole lot of not much here for David or JD.
Dustin, I'm coming for you over there.
Checks to Danny on the button. He
coming for you over
continues.
there.
325. NB makes
gotta
the
teach
call,
you.
and now David is like, please, can NB, can you find a way to win this, please?
Oh yeah.
It's a queen of
Anytime,
spades
John.
on the turn. Neither player can appreciate that card.
I don't know. I talked to you earlier. Yep.
God, if NB just like leads out here, that would be sick nasty. But instead he's going to check it over, and Danny's going to fire again.
Oh, this one has like no food and yeah.
And now NB could literally just be drawing dead, so he'll let it go. Danny will show the winner down, and he does not have to pay out.
They have the stream set up.
Ugh, the night just gets worse.
Also, they're having
for
like
David.
legal problems here.
Legal.
Yeah, legal
Already
problems. So they're gonna eventually
stuck
move
the
over to
most,
the place only.
and
So they
also
can
has to
but
pay
the other
out.
one's good.
When it rains, it pours.
you tried and tried, and Danny just waited for the Jack 7 offsuit.
I only got one I can play.
Yeah, that's why I think it's legal stuff.
And no
Just in
food.
case.
And no food.
Yeah, scoot him.
JD style, they almost got shut down. You know what I mean? So they had to move. It's
They did?
yeah, almost, almost.
No joke.
Yeah, it was closer almost than JD's almost. So.
No, I don't think so. You don't know how close my arm was. My arm was very close.
Yeah. Okay. Oh boy. Oh boy.
You know what keeps me on the other good side almost? Is when I make the pulls. Why'd you text me? He goes, much discipline. And shows me taking with ace-2 soft. You know, he's like, much discipline. You know, so I would make him proud. Make him proud.
We're not in the need game right now, okay? Just to know. Okay? You don't have to blow 3 barrel like.
He doesn't hit. He doesn't want you to give him the Cashman treatment.
All right, 3 players to this flop. Everybody whiffs. More whiffing.
Check in after this one. That's my favorite.
Jorge bets his double gutty here on the turn.
Full stream.
Fire, who has the best hand, but kind of an awkward spot to be in. Yeah, rather than check call here, he's going to hit him with the check raise. A little over a min click, takes it up to 750, and Jorge here with the double gutty. I mean, yeah, just make the call and see if you can bank it. Fire here with the jack of spades. Does run out a final spade, and so yeah, you kind of have to go for it. If you're going to check raise there, kind of got to lay down the gauntlet, be like, well, I can have some flushes here, so you probably just fold all of your one pair holdings. Sure enough, gets it through. Of course, he was just ahead, but let's pick up.
This guy once, we're playing the Nick game, he won a hand, and he was like, do I have to show? Was I going to everybody? He goes, but if I muck, I can keep it? He goes, yeah, he mucks, keeps it. He goes, I'll win another. And then wins
That
the
was
next
pretty
hand
sick.
and gets rid of it.
Idol. That was the most impressive thing ever.
He was just like, nah, I'll win another. Okay, no problem.
Have you ever lost a Nick game, Fire? Have you ever lost a Nick game?
Against you, no.
Now we're here on the same.
Oh, rough. I didn't mean to ask. I take back my question. Rewind.
I didn't mean to.
Wow. Oh my god. KO.
2-0, huh? 2-0. Ain't gonna love
Cashman versus Fire here, Button versus Straddle. Top pair here for Cashman. Quick check, check, and Fire picks up a turn. Pair of nines. Checky, checky once again. And it's another 9, running 9s for Fire. Very unlikely event. But Cashman here gonna bet. And this is just such a great spot for Fire. Like, you just have no business making trip 9s on this run out, and like an ace is just always good. So when he raises here, Cashman is just like, this is just free money. Aces and 9s with the king on board. This is just free money.
Okay, yeah, ace deuce. It's kind of good.
Let you know first.
Good ace. Wow, thank you.
No problem.
Shit.
Fire. 9?
Cashman correctly deducing that it's a 9. But I mean, like, you still just never believe it. Yeah, you just never believe it. There's no chance. You give him credit for a 9 and fold. Yeah, that's rough. NB here, stuck $5 again. Once again, not going to Taco Bell.
Maybe after. You have to explain the rules to me, though. Most of the games.
I was thinking about playing too. Yeah. I want to play a horse tournament next week. So.
All right, moving right along. Hand number 67 here.
Oh, sorry, I blew it.
You may have misread this hand.
Harvey, Mr. Shuttle.
A couple of goofy looking hands there. Thankfully, that's just going to be a raise and take it for
But you
Fire.
just
We
did
don't
it
have
anyway.
to worry about
The fuck?
whether or not the cards are correct.
Harvey, I hear you like getting the clock called on you. I heard. No? It happens? Like how often?
Especially in tournaments.
I asked this question a couple weeks ago. He said an
You get
average
the
of twice
console
per
already in
session.
tournaments?
Twice per session?
He said an average of twice. You told me that in Florida. Twice per session.
I said
Average.
like 10 all time.
He said no. And he said the worst, like the most egregious sessions, where he has a lot of spots, it's like 6 or 7.
Dude, let's start talking hand
2 per session, huh? I
Am
can
I allowed
see
to do
it.
that?
We're just nice on the stream, you know?
Am I allowed to straddle?
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's good.
Alright.
I'll allow it.
I know you will.
I had Frog called twice and day 2 of the,
10K?
no.
What's up?
I have it.
Oh.
1700
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You have it?
Yeah.
All right, folds to Harvey
Yeah,
in the
it
$25
went up for some
straddle.
reason. I don't
He
know why.
limps to trap.
Oh, get this running right now. Yeah.
Danny
Yeah,
here
I-
has the
I
8
don't know.
deuce,
I don't
so
even
he's just happy to see it flop for the $50 already invested.
Oh, they don't need any
Neither player
advertising.
connects, so ace queen is best. And Danny was like, I don't know, I got a gut shot.
Promotions here, promotions
high.
in Houston. Tyrone, no promotions.
Harvey makes the call.
Sometimes they'll do a bad beat promotion and
And
he gets
drills
hit
the
in any
gutty.
room in the state.
Harvey
every
picks
room
up
will
a
get
gutty
hit
of his own.
Every person
Does
playing
also
in the
have
top will
the
get
ace
hit
of
off in
hearts,
every room.
2 hearts out there.
So like if you can hit in Houston.
Danny
and
bets
the
half pot.
all the rooms all over the room. There's like six rooms.
Definitely see Harvey peeling one off here, but
Last day was
yeah, maybe the check raise, yeah. Let's go.
TCH.
Got the
Was
queen,
Royal Plus
the
against
ace of hearts. A lot of rivers that he can represent.
The 51, huh? Yeah, the 5100 again.
Also just repping the 8 right now.
Table, they made Royal Plus against.
Danny, though, going to make the call, and now Harvey's like, ooh,
There's no bad beat going though.
I guess we're going to need
That's crazy.
to improve. Deuce of spades, the biggest brick
I've seen it one time.
in
Seen
the
it happen
deck.
One time at like a qualifying hand to the bad beat for like we were at a home game. But I've never been part of it personally.
Was so sick.
Well, let's see if Harvey goes for this or if he shuts this down. I mean, this feels like the worst river card. Danny's already called your check raise. Like, yeah, maybe he's just got 2 pair that you could have blasted him off of somehow, like 7, 10, or whatever. But like,
I got 2 Royal Plus.
That's how you know you're destined to be a poker pro.
Yeah?
You're like, I'm gonna run the top 0.01%. How's that the game?
Of course.
Easy game.
And now here I am.
Easy game. That's how it
Danny
works.
here is going to go
That's how it
for the
works. You know
value.
it, right? You gotta run good at the start, and then you just the rest you figure out. You gotta run good. I don't play PLO, but I played
Half
PLO
pot.
like once this year. And that session, I cracked quad. I cracked quad.
Reopens the betting.
PLO. But then I
This
still
would just
lost
be
that session.
absolutely savage if Harvey
thought you might have wanted
woke up
to
with
check
the
raise
double
maybe.
check raise on the river, but it does just let it go.
Yeah.
It's such an underplayed spot that it just feels too weird. It doesn't go for it, and I think that's why.
And the dealer was
Danny, I mean, unless he makes it just absolutely massive, Danny's probably just going to look at it with a little bit of a quizzical face and make the call very quickly.
So I told all the table.
Would be
okay,
pretty
I'm gonna
sick
put
though
this
if you just had king queen there and you're just like check raise and then check the deuce of spades on the river and let him own himself.
Keep them run, eh?
It's in run.
All that matters is we got him, right?
My first and last time that I made that, you know what?
Bring it back down.
No steal. Bring it back.
Happy.
I think everybody who plays PLO the first time runs good. Like the very, very, very first time.
Because they don't know what they're.
Yeah, but just like it's like a conspiracy to like try to drag people into the game. Like, I don't know. Poker gods are weird people. Weird gods. But, the first session, you never play PLO, you play one session, you definitely win. And then
I'm happy
never
with just
again.
the double board bomb pots. Those are super fun. So once around, once in orbit, I mean, or
I'm
you
so
know,
bad at those though.
Well, that's perfect.
I play the
then.
hand, I show my hand, and they go, and then everybody looks at it and they go, you just want to play around the double board bump out? And I'm just like, no. Please, no. It's not good, Danny. It's very bad.
JD here, pretty good at playing
People have
the
gotten a lot
2
better,
cards.
I
Give
don't
him
care,
4
but-
apparently.
Some places they don't
Brain
play
stops
on it.
working.
You see it, you know.
Misread here.
I convinced some of the Euros in King's Lounge to
So
do
these hands may
to
not
do
be
it in the
correct.
5-10 game.
take them with a grain of salt. David here raising ostensibly with the ace-king, but
I like when we went to Vegas, we would play the ball pots, double board ball pots. It was either we just play a normal hold'em ball pot, which I actually like.
Fire gonna
That's
limp
what they
and
mostly
call.
Yeah, I like those.
Heads up.
Yeah.
Or we would do. I played one time where they did double board hold'em ball pot.
They also did that a little bit. I saw, yeah. It just depended on who was at the table. And they were like taking time out of it.
Fire will check fold. David takes it down.
Yeah, I kind of like the hold'em ones. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like in the hold'em one, especially the double one, it's a lot of like, I really hope he's playing the other board. There's a lot of that. Or there's a lot of times where you just like end up playing like you both play the same board, you know? Just like,
Yeah.
because the boards are, it's hard to connect with just two cards on both, you know?
Fire and Harvey both on over 15K stacks. David here, 9-8 suited,
ABC poker.
early position.
ABC.
AJ will make a call with pocket sixes, and Danny will close the action. The ace-9 of diamonds. Sorry, NB did have raggy hand that he released, but 3 players to a flop. Split diamonds out there. AJ still best with the pair of sixes and the twos on board. Danny here, pretty good spot to go for a big raise. Rep that deuce. Did call out of the $25 straddle, so certainly can have some suited deuces. Makes it 650 to go. AJ here, who just called from the big blind. Not going to have too many deuces. May have some sort of disconnected kings. But pretty much no matter what he has, it's going to be tough for him to continue across multiple streets of aggression.
I got Sabine over here too.
Contemplating his move here with the sixes, though.
1-1 mix Sabine.
I mean, I think we've all been in this spot before where you're just like, I mean, maybe I'm just good. Maybe he does just have the naked flush draw, right? But like, how the hell do you continue?
What's that?
Just don't.
I had a good
And
hand.
that is a valuable lesson in poker. Sometimes it's okay to lose. In fact,
No, I had a good hand. That's all.
it's okay to lose a lot. You don't need to win. Or sorry, you don't need to, yeah, you don't need to win a bunch of hands. You just need to win a bunch of money in one hand.
So pocket
So,
six,
you
no
know,
good?
you saw your flop with your sixes, probably good. If you weren't, fold.
Big time.
Yeah, move on. Definitely can get yourself into some spots where you become a calling station, always trying to find the right hero calls and the good spots when you're on a marginal hand, but probably winning.
Don't worry about it. It's gonna come through.
You end up getting yourself into some really tricky situations. The sixes are back for AJ. And he limps them. Just in time for Fire to squeeze it up
Really hurt?
out of the straddle.
Huh?
Safine's here, you said?
No, not really.
And AJ's like, dude, get these sixes away from me.
Actually,
Not
These things are
actually,
broken.
yeah,
They
yeah.
don't
Okay, I
work.
got you, I got
I
it.
don't
That
like
makes
it.
in spirit.
Bill in the chat says, if you're not folding winners now and then, you ain't playing poker. That is very
Comment
true.
about Ricky's confidence.
Or at least that your opponents aren't playing poker.
450.
It is possible to just like not be folding winners if your
You guys
opponent's
wanna play the,
super
Nicky one
passive.
last
But
time? We have
I
an
hear what
hour.
you're saying. You're absolutely right. If you're
Yeah,
playing
this
against
time.
anywhere competent players,
Good deal? Everybody?
they're going to be putting you in difficult spots, and particularly when you're out of position, you're going to have to fold winners. That's just the way it goes. And it's not a problem. It's part of the game.
Much better than being a stand-up. Much better than being a stand-up.
All right, $50 straddle and the Nick game back in force. Let's go.
Stand-up game.
Back to back to back to back. Yeah. Like one time, it's just like, it ends like, all right, again. It's just like,
JD raising under the gun. Danny says, nah, brah. Ace queen in the small blind. Hits him with 3-bet. Back over to JD. His hand has good playability, or reasonable playability. Post flop and in position. Also can function as a strong 4-betting candidate, and here it comes. Ooh, and Danny pitches the ace queen off instantly.
Aces, Danny.
Son of a
JD getting it done.
Almost. I thought it was aces. I misread.
Fair enough. I forgive you. Well, aces the clubs.
Yeah.
Man. Boo.
Maybe you see until the Nick game turns on. Then I'm like crazy. Nick game off. Back to
Maybe,
Queen's plus.
Maybe no.
You guys
yeah,
get 3
maybe.
hands. That's it. 3 hands, but I missed them all.
Yeah.
Oh, I should have made a straw.
Jorge here, suited 1-gapper. Take a shot at this. Danny, who just got his hand swatted away for 3-betting the ace queen, is just going to call the ace jack. And David wakes up with the ace 5 suited, and he's like, "Oh, I just saw JD do this. Very similar hand. Let's punk these dudes. Let's punk them." Squeezed 800. Jorge is like, "Sweet." You want to play it so bad. Suited connectors, suited 1-gappers. Ooh, he is going to play it. Really doesn't want to make a flush. Unless it's a straight. Danny is just like, dude, this sucks. Ace queen, ace jack. Torch this money. He's out of the way. Battle between David and Jorge. And 8-8-5. Are you kidding me? Must be nice to be Jorge and see that flop roll off. Now you're like, oh God, please have aces. Like before I wanted you to be bluffing. Now I want you to have aces. David's going to bet 700, as he would if he had aces. Jorge makes the call. 7 on the turn. Not the greatest card in the world. Doesn't really change that much, though. David here is now kind of in a weird spot where it's like, well, I have like aces and kings and stuff, but like in actuality, I just have 8s and 5s. And so like, I think I kind of need to keep repping aces and shit, right? But no. Check. Of course, we can see is very prudent. And Jorge could very reasonably just check this back. Like, this board is starting to get connected, but, like, it doesn't really matter how connected it is. We're in a 3-bet squeeze pot. These cards shouldn't interact with each other's ranges very much. Jorge does bet. A little under half pot here. David's going to take one last look and let it go. Yeah, Jorge gets to take that one down, and David's like, dude, I'm getting smashed left and right here tonight. Like, give the guy a flush one time. Come on, let me get my money back. And instead, the run bad just continues. Sort of same thing, right? Like against Fire, it's like Fire is just in there with the Queen 7 suited, flops trip 7s. Like, here's this dude with 10-8, flops trip 8s. Like, bro, leave me alone.
Because if he raises and he 3-bets, I fold my 10-8 on the straw. So this way was much better.
I flip-flopped my raise. I should have raised that one and called that one. I'm zigging when I should be zagging. Not ready.
Save up the run for Vegas, buddy. You know? Save it up. Just dump it here and then go win $1 million there. Easy.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
Good trade. Bro.
I'm just talking about zigging and zagging, not running it.
You're calibrated for the Vegas.
That's the area. I like that.
Very calibrated.
That's a.
3 players to a flop. 3 spades out there. Bottom set for Danny, nut flush draw for AJ, and Jorge has dust.
Hard. Sit there silent.
Quiet today.
Huh?
They're always the weirdest spots. When you get a monotone flop, but you have like 2 pair or bottom set. You're just like, I want to raise, but I kind of can't. Just call. Heads up now to his turn.
Yeah, we're gonna post you, you know.
6 of diamonds.
Hold it for 5 seconds. Perfect. I told him.
AJ slows it down with the check.
I did tell.
Danny should appreciate that for sure in terms of feeling good about his hand. However, still a little bit dicey.
Recruiting.
You bet and get raised. You don't love it, but you can call. So betting, reasonable option. Now the issue for AJ is he's got 2 overs, gut shot, and the nut flush draw. Like, he's just got all of this equity, and he's just checked and let Danny bet 700 into 1,000. I think I would have preferred that he just keep barreling. I mean, we can see that he's up against bottom set, and he's never just like getting that through. But now it's just weird because we can see he's got 21% equity. Of course, if you factor in all of the outs that we don't know are gone, you might think that he's got a little bit more. But he's just not getting a great price out of position. Like, let's say that the spade comes in. How is he going to get paid? Is he just going to donk lead the river? So he is going to go for the check raise. Okay, so if this was his plan all along, I don't hate it at all. With as much equity as he's got. And yeah, now Danny is just like, bro, what is my life? Ace queen, ace jack. Now I'm getting check raised. When I have bottom set, there are straights out there, there are flushes out there. Like, my opponent probably isn't doing this with a straight, let's be honest. But like, what the hell? AJ's the pre-flop aggressor as well. Single bet pot. Danny makes the call and is like, please, just like, I don't know, don't put a spade, I guess. King of clubs rolls off. Stack to pot ratio well under 1. It's like not quite 1/2, but AJ here the effective stack with 4.2 thousand. And is he just gonna stuff this? He has the nut blocker. He's the only one that can have the nuts. And he's just taken one of the strongest lines in all of poker. Check raising the turn on a monotone flop. Oh, he shuts it down. He checks. He gives it up. Wave the white flag. And if you're Danny, oh good lord. Yeah, I think you just show this down and win the 88 or the 8,000. Yeah, the 7,800. There it is. Danny does indeed check it back. Because you're just like traumatized by the way that this entire hand is played out. Oh my god. I could feel his pain from 30 minutes ago. Nice big pot there though for Danny, and that
I saw
popped him
black. And I
up
was like, oh.
nearly 4.5K in the positive. AJ taking a big hit there on that one. Didn't have it in him to rip the rest of it in and risk dusting a full 10K, but did take a big hit.
You play some during the COVID?
NB down $120. Yeah, gonna be tough to go to Taco Bell. Stuck that kind of cheddar. Everybody else up and down many thousands of dollars.
You were honest, right? Many people will start playing 16s. Yeah.
He's just on stream.
David here gonna try to just pick up the blinds.
On the record.
Ace 8 off, raising from the small blind. It's like, come on, just win a pot, please.
I start playing like 5
Cashman will defend. Both players flopping. Top pair. 8
Not
kicker.
run as good as I do.
Currently out in front.
Like 3 or 4 straight months, man. Can't miss.
You've been around long enough though that you kind of those 3 months.
Oh yeah, obviously. But I like to. Every player playing long enough is going to run worse than they ever thought possible, and then the opposite's also true. So. Absolutely. The hard part is the mental aspect of it. Like, not deluding yourself and then thinking you're good, and also thinking, oh, am I ever going to be able to beat the game again? You know? I'm sure every player goes through. Like, how did you forget how you ever won, man?
How many minutes left? 3? 4 minutes.
4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 5? Yeah, 5.
Yeah. You gotta play and study your way out of it. Yeah, for sure. But they're not winning to begin with. So, yeah. Have you read Jared Tendler book, Mindset Stuff? He was actually he did that. He was a golf psychologist, so he worked with like PGA players, but he also worked with poker players. It's about reframing everything.
Big hands crashing into each other here. Fire raising the ace-queen suited. Cashman waking up with the Cowboys in the straddle.
668.
Squeeze to 825. Back over to Fire here.
I was thinking the same thing.
The cutoff open.
I like it too. I'm gonna go buy one after this stream too.
Yeah,
He's searching for an auto hoodie.
Ace queen suited gonna feel like a pretty reasonable call, pretty standard call. Ace queen off, maybe you go for the re-raise. Oh my god, look at this flop.
I'm always trying new brand.
Trip queens here for Fire. Cashman, 6,800 the effective stack here.
So, supposed to use it as a bar nut.
Continue.
Oh, then maybe it was 130. I don't remember.
The body
So,
sushi menu.
is it like Lululemon quality?
I see the sushi menu. I don't know if
They probably they don't know it, right?
I'm sure like this one's
There's a couple places where like they'll
yeah.
It's over. They're not gonna-
I think it has menu, but not from here.
Fire just calls in position. 7 of spades on the turn.
It's like, yeah, it's like three places
I tried
in New York
Glory
where
or
they'll call.
whatever. Those are nice.
Really,
They're
Pocket
like
sevens,
slightly
pocket
down from
deuces,
Lulu, I think. Yeah, I got that.
king, queen suited, ace,
I
queen
like this one
suited,
too. It's really soft.
queen,
It's
jack
definite.
suited, maybe some
Why not?
queen 10 suited every once in a while here,
Like,
but
yeah, it's like the cloud collection for some.
not a ton of hands that you're worried about as Cashman, but playing out of position here and up against a player that can have perhaps
Yeah, for
more
real. What's
queens
your,
than you would really give him credit for most of the time. As we saw the queen 7 suited get in there earlier. And Fire here puts a bet of 2,000 out. And yeah, this may actually just be exactly what Cashman wanted, to go for the big check raise jam.
Yeah.
Allow Fire to put some chips out there. Rip it in, hope to get called by jacks.
College athlete,
Tens.
model.
But no, Cashman gonna go for the check call here, leaves himself a little over 4,000 behind. Pot 6,700 in it, and it's a pretty inconsequential 4 of clubs here on the end. Nothing like an ace, jack, something like that that would interact more heavily with Fire's range. Fire is gonna go for it all, rips it in, and Cashman's like, bro, I got kings. How am I not good here? But it feels weird, doesn't feel right. He can feel it. These queen high flops, dude, just never feel good because your opponent's 3-bet calling range just has so many queens in particular. I don't know how you get away from this. I mean, unless you just like have a soul read. It's like if you're folding kings, are you just calling with aces? Oh my God, he does. He lets it go. Cashman gets away from it, preserves his last 4,300. The ace queen gets shown too. He's also knowing that that Fire is just going to flip these cards over to get rid of his nit button, right? So it could be a blessing or a curse. Like he could get shown, just like Snap shown the bluff in a massive spot, folding kings, or he can just be shown ace queen of hearts and be like, oh, thank God. So great fold there, given the situation. I don't know. I mean, that's just a massive spot to lay down kings. I'm not sure I could do it.
For 90.
Too late.
I mean, because there's always the added factor, right? Like the best players can just completely subtract themselves from their two hole cards and just like, no, I'm just playing this hand as though I don't even have any cards. Just figure out what my opponent has. If I think they've got it, whatever it is, I fold. Doesn't matter. Even if I'm at the top of my range, I think they have it, I fold.
7.
That is a lot easier said than done. And for those of us mere mortals, you kind of get to a place where you're like, I just don't have many better hands. Yeah, this feels kind of gross, but like if I fold this, I fold almost everything, and so I gotta call. And then you go and you grumble about it later, and try to console yourself with the fact that, you know, the solver would have done it. But if you make big fold in a spot like that and preserve $4,300, you get to go high five yourself in the mirror and feel pretty good too. Feels better, actually. Much better. Unless you got bluffed. Fire just like Snap turns over, just like Jack 10, you know, just like with a back door or something. And you're just like, oh, good lord. I just got out. Not this time. All right, NB, who has been relatively quiet here as of late, wakes up with 10s under the gun. Try to make back some of that Taco Bell money. He's going to raise this up. And Fire, he's like, dude, these queens are good to me. I love it. Ride that queen rush. Suited queen rush.
I found you, Cashman.
Wait, that's 4 a.m.
You have it turned on. You can disable it on your phone.
Okay.
Back over to NB. He folded the 10s earlier against the 9s.
That's right, though. So looking for a guy in a baseball cap and a gray.
That was like the one hand that David won.
Possible to disable?
Was 9s against
AJ,
10s,
you're fine.
and he
We'll have
actually
20 of them.
was able to just sort of aggress his way through the hand.
Don't know. You have to-
NB here is
It was like a-
not having it. He's like, dude, I haven't played a hand in like forever, so I'm gonna re-raise you and get rid of this nip.
emergency alert.
Maybe
Maybe they moved. Oh, they're moving tables. They're moving tables.
Turn it off.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah. A lot of chips.
All right, so who all still has their nip button? Let's take a peek around the table. It looks like
30 years.
what am I only seeing
Book
two?
tons of pictures on them?
Either that or an Amber Alert.
That's like 30 years ago, huh? It disappeared.
It's like Harvey and Harvey and Cashman,
Yeah,
the only
siesta
players
square.
with a nip button.
Eating some paella, some at the beach.
Sangria.
Sangria and paella.
Oh no, AJ's got his as well.
I've never had paella either.
It is kind of tough to blend in to
Have you ever been
that red felt,
Yeah. I've been to Germany
especially
a couple times.
a player like AJ has it sort of lurking in the back.
Well, I
AJ
used to
waking up
travel
with
for
the
work.
ace king here facing this raise from David.
You work right now? You work? Yeah.
It's definitely a spot.
You can't
AJ
tell.
would love to
You can't tell.
I've never heard anyone have that reaction.
squeeze this
Yeah,
up,
you play, buddy?
take
Like,
it
you think I
down,
can afford it?
What are you talking about, really?
connect with a
You don't think I can afford
good
it?
flop. JRG Pinoy in the chat wants to know, where is Texas Card House? This is in Dallas. You can see right there on the felt, Texas Card House in Dallas.
Engineer?
Coming to you very nearly live. These
I went
hands
to
were
work
played
today.
about
Came straight here.
15, 20 minutes ago, something like that.
Buddy, I'm wearing
We
jeans
do
and
have a
tennis
location
shoes,
in
like,
Houston as well as
they
Austin
can't- they-
and the
I
Rio
wear
Grande
flip-flops to
Valley.
the office. They get mad. So flip-flops means
Another
no.
location out there in Las Colinas up in
Don't work.
Dallas as
Flip-flops
well.
on the back of the closet now, yeah.
All right, comes 965.
Coming a lot more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good spot here
Makes
for
sense. You said
David.
you were coming through with, like,
So,
5
for whatever
minutes.
reason, it shows that there are 0 outs for
Whoa,
AJ,
whoa,
but
relax,
I
buddy.
just don't believe that every ace and every king has been folded. So
Wow.
we're going to just ignore that for now. And lo and behold, we've got a king of diamonds right on the turn. Going to improve AJ to top pair, top kicker.
I've been there several times.
After betting flop with
Sometimes
just
we did,
ace
like, a big
high,
group
now
from Germany,
connecting
like
here on the
Italy,
turn,
Switzerland, all that stuff.
oftentimes
haven't-
you're going to
haven't been to,
continue
like,
barreling
Spain, Portugal.
Spain, Portugal, or even like UK or France.
and reevaluate
I think
after
it's
that.
That's it.
AJ concurs, bet a 1300 here, and David now, who is like,
Italy, Switzerland, like,
yeah, I like that
up in the
flop.
Alps and stuff. I didn't even- we didn't even do
This
Southern
turn
Italy, like,
feels
northern
like
Italy
the
or
rest of my
Venice.
night,
I went
which
to
is
coasted,
like,
Cinque
fuck
Terre,
that card.
Oh, yeah.
Why did that have to peel off right now?
And then,
But
we did some
can't
Switzerland
just go
and
folding
Zurich.
quite yet because there's ace
Very, very
queens
expensive.
of the world,
They're
there's
crazy expensive ones.
pocket tens
poker there
that
once,
could
actually.
still be betting, whatever. So David makes the call. Queen of diamonds here on the end, and this is just like the nut low run out for
10
David.
Swiss francs to get in, and like.
Although with the additional overcard running off, he may not pay off any additional bets, but I mean AJ here just has the jam. Oh my good lord.
5, 5, 5, 10. Back. This was.
David is just going to get a free check back.
My wife got.
I mean, he's not calling the jam, let's be honest, but like,
Slept out for a couple
I don't know. I guess AJ is just like
You don't want to be
putting pocket queens in there, right? And king queen potentially in his opponent's hand that can be calling,
This year,
and
no.
just doesn't want to rip it in there. And get snapped off. I don't know.
I finished my degree and I.
I mean, like, if he checks it over and David rips it in, is AJ going to fold? I don't think so. You're kind of like trying to give him a chance to bluff or something. I don't know. I just don't think he's ever going to do that. So, kind of an awkward spot there. Standard line definitely just to run that one all the way down across 3 streets. Bet, bet, bet. But David does take some further damage, does not lose all of his chips.
That was like the big game for years.
However.
So how are you?
33, 34, 34 now. I think.
I think. 33 almost.
Almost 34. No, actually.
And wow, so it folds all the way over to Harvey. Cashman decides not to open his cutoff to try to get rid of his knit button. I mean, AJ just took that one down, got rid of it, so perhaps a little bit of a misstep here from Cashman. I feel like any 2 cards is an open from the cutoff when folded to.
Not chips.
But, you know, what do we know? NB here makes a big raise with the ace-king, and it doesn't really matter.
Then like 4 or 5 days later.
I want to go.
I Need Mayo got hit with the ads. This is Dallas. Pretty much all of our locations, I think all of our locations have it on the felt. So if you ever are tuning in at a later date and are wondering where it is that we are playing from, should be able to just look there somewhere around felt to see the location. But again, this is TCH Dallas.
Random city with big game for sure.
No problem. If you didn't know it was there, you wouldn't think to look for it, as a lot of times there's just a bunch of random nonsense out on the felt, so certainly understand, but now you know. All right, Cashman here raises it up. Harvey makes the call. This is the dynamic that I expect to see when the button is on this end of the table, or like in this sort of configuration, just because those 2 players have such an incentive to play hands. AJ here squeezes it up on the button, and both of those knit button players have to fold.
If you play the other place, you might keep going. I have a job, so I'm actually busier now.
That makes sense.
That's why I play like 3 days a week, usually 3 days a week.
The best one.
Negligible. Gambles all of the things. Hits a 53.
Somehow I walk in and
Nice.
the run game runs.
RS Actuary also rolling well. Good job.
Like swinging that much.
Poker Monkey got a 52 in there as well. Red Rollins winning. Everybody winning up in here.
How does it feel?
I'm sure it's not been jinxed, so
Lose a lot, the job
good
feels
luck
pointless.
to the next person.
Isn't it? That's why you gotta be an engineer, you know?
But at the end of the year, you look back.
All right, Cashman with a suited connector
But in the moment,
raises it up. Danny here pouncing on this open with his own suited connector.
why? Why don't I bother?
And with Harvey out of there, Cashman's like, all right, let's take a flop.
At the same time, I get a
Come
text
on,
message
baby.
that says, like, hey, money that shows up on your account, you're like, oh, that's kind of nice.
I got paid. Okay, yesterday.
Ooh, a couple of clubs out here for Cashman. Danny
Talked about a lot of work
has
that
some backdoor opportunities
definitely been times
and
where they
the
could
range
give me a
advantage. So he's going to go ahead and
they're like, aren't you excited?
c-bet. Cashman comes in for the check raise here a lot of the time, but is just going to call this time. It's like, I just want to win the pot. Don't need to go crazy. 4 of spades. Up and down with the flush draw now. Danny has a gut shot, but no diamond equity.
I mean,
You gotta pay the engineers way more than that, then the poker will be good. That's the secret. That's the secret.
And Danny doesn't really have a horse in this fight, right? Like, he's going to get $100 whichever one of these guys wins the next hand. So he doesn't need to try to blast Cashman out of there for any, side bet reason. just wants to win the main pot. So he is going to bet the turn. Cashman rips it and releases
Game is
the
over.
knit button. So Harvey going to have to pay this one out.
I was good.
The other kid. The other kid on the table.
Thank you, Lottie.
They don't have experience, eh, Daniel?
Think me, I took him out. I took him out.
Harvey's had this experience.
Yeah. Three.
Harvey's had this experience.
He's learning. He's learning.
7 deuces.
Only 3 of our remaining players are stuck. Everybody else
I'd
is
be
up.
interested, but
Of course, we did have
I'm in. Everybody?
Berman.
Chris, I've never seen you make that
I
many
forget how to
facial
pronounce it,
expressions.
whatever it was. Take
Looking at
leave
Danny, like smirking.
earlier.
I had a feeling what was going to
But
happen.
yeah,
I'm just gonna
an
turn on the cards.
action-packed night.
Yeah,
Plenty of
yeah,
chips moving around. We've had a couple of big
Have a nice night. You know,
hands
nice seeing you guys.
collide.
Seven, I know good.
Some good
Or-
folds,
I was
some
gonna
good bluffs.
see that grimace on your face. It was a win-win, honestly.
Danny, you could have sent Cashman in and out.
Yeah, milkshake. Here I go,
If I could have called with 8 high, that would have been 6. But
There's still time. In and out doesn't close.
Oh no, I'm going in and out regardless, but it would have sped up my in and out journey.
definitely got 6, 7 of clubs. I
You're what?
can beat that.
There are Shake Shacks.
Put you on 6-7.
I don't know where the closest one is, but there are Shake Shacks.
The staff is so awkward, so I'm like, I'm going to set up a river change. He's going to take up strong.
There's one by the open new room.
Jorge out of there. Looks like we're going to go heads up to a
Yeah, it's
flop.
like, it's probably like 2 miles.
TJ and Harvey.
Everything close at
He's looking for Shake Shack.
I'm just asking.
There's one in Las Colinas, but
Shake Shack, yeah, there's one on.
Interesting flop here. Top pair, no kicker for AJ. Open ender and overcard and a backdoor spade flush draw here for Harvey.
Up in the shops of Legacy.
yeah,
I don't know what that is.
there's a couple.
Was all of them close at 10?
I think so.
Bottom card paired.
Mostly open till 4 in the morning.
Have you ever had in and out?
Eh? Yeah,
An
then
ugly
it's not
spot
that-
here for
it's not-
Harvey, but he is going to have all the best hands. He can have aces,
Yeah,
kings,
forget about it.
Everybody prefer in and
good
out.
candidate to
price-
continue
no, no,
barreling.
man.
And for
Everybody
a large
can-
size, look at this.
You prefer
it in and out?
In-N-Out burger?
Overbet.
You prefer in and out.
1,200
You prefer-
You prefer
in
in-N-Out?
740.
To what?
You prefer in and out to Shake Shack?
What about the
Applying
kind
maximum
Alejandro?
pressure here. He's like, when the deuce pairs, it
I
just
don't
puts
like fries
all
either,
of your
but,
best hands
Fries,
in
yeah,
the
fries-
basement.
fries
Like
and
Queen
shakes
10
better at Shake
sucks now
Yeah, burgers better.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
to this
fair.
bet
Yeah,
size.
yeah.
So like, what are you going to do? And AJ is like, I have top pair. Like call.
That's a common complaint.
And now Harvey's like, oh, okay, that sucks. I need to improve or I'm losing.
Hey, who are we going to trust about this topic?
And it's a 7 of spades, the most interesting card that we could have seen.
Topic,
A spade. Now we get to find out if Harvey represents this. And I think he really should because
But
it's
we have a food that
very,
in burger
very unlikely
That's fine.
that AJ could have spades. Right? I mean, the only ones left are ace king. That doesn't make any sense at all.
I don't
AJ just called pre-flop. He can't have ace king of spades, and he shouldn't have king 9 of spades. So yeah, you give him the business.
None of your story makes any sense.
Ooh, AJ doesn't buy it. He's already announced that your story doesn't make sense, but this is a big bet, 3,500
Like,
to
okay,
31.
like 7, you know?
Is AJ a sicko? Just gonna snap this off like,
I was like, long time ago, like
get
maybe
wrecked.
4
Oh, he
years ago.
does!
And then
He does! He says these overbets are nothing. Get out of here, bro.
Make no sense.
Get out of here, bro. Ship me that 10K
I took the
pot.
Shake Shack.
Tell him, AJ.
And that was really well played by Harvey. Just AJ was having none of it.
I'm gonna-
He picked the wrong guy to try to push around. Harvey, dude, is like,
I
what
was in
just
love with the
happened?
Shake Shack, so
How did you
then
not
it goes
hold
back
that?
to the in and out. It's like a
How did
error.
you not hold that? Whew.
Big mistake.
Vegas
That was
guys
my
like
favorite
Shake
hand.
Shack. Why do you guys
That was
like
my
Shake
favorite
Shack?
hand
They
right
needed
there.
it in Bellagio, right?
Not because one player lost and the other player won. No, just like the way that hand was played. That was awesome.
Sorry, okay, all right.
Between the area and New York.
Hope you guys like that too.
Yeah.
If you like that
That's
hand,
all about a Shake
help
Shack.
us out. Hit the like button.
That's how you
Make sure you're
shake time.
subscribed to the channel because we've got free poker content coming at you repeatedly all throughout the week. Lots of good stuff. And not only do we have free poker content here on TCH Live, we've also got some pretty cool stuff happening
I know as
at
much
our
as
various
possible.
TCH locations,
But
trying
then
to show you
the
this
question-
graphic. There it
You guys
is, the
said
Thursday
earlier that
big
Spain
one.
is 30 years
Texas
behind
Card
us
House
now.
in Houston,
Everybody
starting at
thinks
6
they're 30
p.m.
years
is
behind
20K
technology,
guaranteed
food,
tournament,
poker.
30K in starting chips, $240 buy-in with 20-minute
Yeah,
levels.
exactly. I'm thinking about
If
it.
you are
My
in or around the
sizing is really
Houston
bad.
area, stop in on Thursday to play the
I
big
could've
one.
won my hand if I played it better.
If you go, I mean, you're gonna get in love with the Spanish food.
Yeah.
If you wanna,
Yeah.
if you wanna eat healthy or like Mediterranean,
And hell, if you want to play on this live stream,
I love Mediterranean
whether it
food.
be
super cheap,
here on
it's
Tuesdays
like super cheap.
with your boy Aaron
I mean, compared to
McAvoy
the
calling the
US,
shots,
you know, I mean,
The sick
or
parents-
one of the other times,
Spain is like
whether it's in Austin,
nothing compared to
out of Houston, or here in Dallas.
here you
I've
get
had
a
it.
zero.
Reach out, let us know.
Really, like a 4K
There's
box
a
or
link that you can
85
find,
with 8 high.
I believe, in the YouTube description.
Same spot.
15.
Also there in the chat, you can see it right there. Click the link.
Like literally the exact
Streamlabs
same.
just said it a few moments ago. Click that link. Let us know where and when you want to play. We'll do our best to get you in. JD here flopping
Much better than
kind of a monstrous. Never mind. That's not the board. I'm like about to announce that he's got this sick combo draw, and that is just totally not the board. He does still have a flush draw and gets there immediately. But Fire here flopping the top pair top kicker was in a pretty good spot
it's good. I mean, the steak is good.
for a moment. JD,
Last day we
who was the pre-flop aggressor. Sorry, I got a little bit
Seafood.
behind on this hand.
it's like
Pre-flop aggressor bets flop. Now checks turn. Fire checks it back, and it's a jack. Top trips, top kicker for Fire. Ouch. JD here. See if he hits him
There's some good restaurants close to
the
TCH.
overbet
The other location.
or the big chunky anyway.
Brazilian steakhouse.
we went to the Brasil.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah, but it's like it's good. I mean, but it's like pricey.
Big chunky indeed, full pot. Quick call from Fire, and yeah, just run good, man. Just run good. Have your opponent hit a jack,
We won
get
the
paid.
Yeah.
I mean, for the first
David has to sit there and watch JD just stack all these chips up while he keeps getting owned. Dude, this game is brutal. It is just so brutal, and then other times, it's awesome. Night and day.
They have breakfast?
Like brunch.
They have brunch.
Has like a breakfast sandwich or something. Everything's been good.
Yeah, I agree. Dessert.
Tyler was telling me about it, and I was like, "You ordered this?" And he goes, "No, Cashman ordered it." And I was like, "Oh, you guys share dessert?" He goes, "Yeah."
Not really. He took a listen. There was a bite taken. There was
I mean,
there was
it's not
one
like you guys,
fork.
like,
There was one fork
Split the
taken.
suck pie together.
Listen, there was no. Listen,
You
it wasn't.
you ever split dessert with your boys?
It wasn't a lady in the tramp situation. It was more of like a hey, that looks good kind of a bite.
Yeah, I'm not judging you guys, you know. But,
It sounded like that.
yeah, those are pretty.
It's impossible
That
to
story
get
was great.
dessert here in the US
Didn't catch it.
because I have been searching in the menu. It's like
Man.
1,400 calories.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like
Minimum.
I mean, it's something crazy. It's like I mean, you're eating the calories that you are usually take a
Wow. Look at this
day in
hand.
a dessert.
Race 75 from Danny with the ace. Smooth call from David. JD squeezes from the small blind with ace king. Cashman. 3 raises. Min raise. Cold 4-bet. Not actually a min raise, but like very close to it, right? His own ace king. Given the configuration here, do you just stuff this? No, you don't. You call and play out of position with the ace king. All right, JD here. Out of position. Stack to pot ratio around 2.5. No, 3. Sorry, I apologize. Checks it over. Cashman here, going to continue for a small size 4 1/4. So about quarter pot.
Mystery high hand.
JD makes a call.
high hand? So like roulette.
Ace of clubs on the turn. Both players connecting with their top pair, top kicker. Either player with a club.
It's the top price. Top price is 5,000. Right? Top price, the hand is 5,000.
Bill James correctly stating that somebody had 8s. Yeah, 8s and 7s were out there in the field, both getting mugged by the time this went 3 and 4 bet. Cashman here continues on this turn. A little under half pot, puts 1,200 out there. JD calls, pot will go up to 5,000, leaving a 2/3 jam behind. So Cashman here going the geometric sizing. JD will make the call. It's a deuce on the end here. Ace-5 gets there. That's about it. Ace-5 suited. A very real concern, but still only going to be a couple combos of that. Right? If you're JD, you're like, okay, he's got Ace-5 of hearts and spades. Or sorry, hearts and diamonds, right? But, I mean, this is just a jam that I don't think you can fold to. Does make the call, chop it up. Both players getting many, many thousands of dollars in and winning $80 each. That'll
Last one was fast, yeah. It was like 30 minutes.
Costing me even more money tonight, Cashman.
Huh?
On a flush?
Eights.
You're supposed to only, am I still going to call?
One and two.
Supposed to like tank, call, and he shows his hand and
Four
he's
bet.
I have 8 jacks.
I was calling a three bet.
You really sack? I go all in, you call? I thought about it. Not all in, but a lot.
Right.
I was like, I should go big here. I'm never gonna be.
And that's why also from me to see them call.
I was so shocked I had a flush myself, actually. I was like, oh, I do a flush you.
I think from here you have.
Ace Jack, Jack of the river, huh? Cooler river. Oh, Cashman.
David and Cashman stuck a bunch. Everybody else positive. That's wild.
I want to see it.
Sometimes it be like that.
Hearts and just run it. Let's go.
I've been known to do a thing or two, buddy.
It's like me and my
And a
like
king 10 of diamonds
maybes.
and the image of a burger. You know what I mean? Like, give me queen jack suited and the beautiful
All you
idea
gotta
of
do is
no
bet the
king.
turn, and then once
Fire
the
with a
turn
raise
goes,
and
it's the
take
one
it.
in front of it.
Not a lot of hands coming out here this evening. At 87 currently. 20 minutes or so left in the broadcast.
You're listening up today.
What?
You're listening
There's the
up today.
V-pips. Everybody up over 20%. JD actually
No, right? Yeah.
at the bottom of
Did
those.
you hear him? He's got a job. He's a whale.
Plus, I said Nick game's on. I'm crazy. Nick game off. ABC. YG's watching.
Fire opens. JD re-raises. Or rather, just raises. Bunch of rags going in the bin. It's back to fire. And if he folds this hand, I'll
Two legends.
change my name to Bill. Good, I don't have to do that. All right, he calls, and here we go. Heads up to a flop. Red versus red. Comes all red. Top pair, pretty bad kicker here for fire, and diamond flush draw for JD, so
Sorry.
strong holdings for both players. Check call of 350 here on the flop.
Did you hold up?
The black card, 8 of clubs, changes nothing.
Let's go. Let's go.
Checky, checky. JD here just going to take his river for free, and it's another red card, but it's not a diamond. Fire here going to finish with the best hand. Check, check once more. Fire wins.
You're lucky, Fire. You're lucky. Lucky. Nice hit. Nice hit.
Yeah.
Nice hit.
Little
Yeah.
cheerleading there
Again.
for Fire to take that one away from
bad.
JD.
And it's so fucking bad. How do I miss Fire? Nice hit, nice hit.
Nothing, nothing.
9 of diamonds on the river. One time.
I got so scared with it.
9 of diamonds.
Long time ago, yeah.
Got him. No more getting out of line.
All right, $50 straddle on.
See what happens, Chris.
Exactly. Start raising.
Fire
ace,
wakes
flip
up
an
with
ace high.
queens.
That's what she did. Seriously.
Got what I deserve.
Queen's been quite good for Fire this evening.
Should have.
Most of them coming in the form of suited hands. Queen 7 and Queen, what was the other one? Ace Queen, that's right, Ace Queen of Hearts. Flop trip queens. Here we have NB raising it up from the straddle. This is under the gun versus straddle.
Track and field.
So two very strong hand ranges, and indeed, both players very strong holdings. Fire going to be very well aware that NB hasn't done a lot of this
Baseball transfer portal's been
3-betting,
busy lately.
but says queens is good enough to just basically commit myself to calling it all off if he rips it in. Back over to NB, who's like, oh, well, okay then. This is all in or fold.
Yeah. Do you guys get a vacation from practice, or are you the whole summer?
Yeah, I mean, right now he's like,
Okay. When do you start up?
And it is all in from NB. Fire quickly calling it. We've got a classic race for a lot of chips.
So it's not super
Running it twice, nearly 12,000 in the middle. I guess these players not going to show their hands, but they are going to run it twice.
Yeah, so if you run outside, it'll be early.
In these situations, I usually just like to turn the cards over when I'm the player, but understandable that you don't need to do that in a cash game. All right, there's still a chance for NB to win with a 10, but he can't get there, so it's going to be a set of queens here on the first run out. And one of the kings now missing for NB and the ace-king. Bricks this flop as well. NB drawing very thin, going to the river on the second run out, and that is going to be scoopy here for Fire. Ace-king no good. NB going to go down to the felt. And Fire in a 12K pot nearly, taking that one down. That is going to chip him up very nicely, up over $21,000 for that man. And that is going to catapult him up to, I think, the top of the leaderboard. Should take him up over JD. And sure enough, yeah, $13,500 of profit here for Fire this evening. Incredible showing. It looks like NB is going to pack it in there, as we are sort of drawing close to the end of the stream anyways, rather than reload. He's just going to call it right there. Good game, NB. We'll see you next time. Take care. Good night. And we shall continue the next just about 15 minutes or so with the 4 seat empty, I presume, unless we've got another player ready to step in.
Did you get the Did you get the post lost face up?
You gotta put it on the archives. Just, you know,
Fire. Fire. You got my revenge.
Huh? No, it's good. You sent that picture of Chris earlier where he was like, oh, that's what you need. Those are the photos.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the photos. I think I jinxed him.
All right, heads up between David and Fire.
I think you jinxed it
For
because he's been that
straddle
same post,
players.
like four times today.
I was just scrolling through YouTube
And
that
yeah,
thumbnail
just
came
whoever
up of me
sneezes
like
at this first,
you
that's
know,
going to be Fire.
a couple days ago.
Takes down.
Tilting. Yeah, it was like, but the old highlight video came up like on my
You
random
should just
YouTube.
use that as every thumbnail. Where it is in the tournament. Even if he's not in the game.
The worst. What does it say? It says like, sick Bluff leaves poker player buffooned, or like something like that. Puzzled.
Idiot poker player.
Yeah, seriously. Idiot poker player folds with a check mark.
Oh my gosh.
That's what my mom said about that one.
Your mom's good at poker.
That's what Danny told me just the other day, actually.
What?
He was like, "Yeah, Kings." I was like, "Please go."
Oh yeah.
He was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Harvey with 9s in the cutoff.
I check my
145
phone
to
every
go.
day. It's like, I super
AJ
snap, you know? Like, buddy.
makes the call. Fire in the mix as well with the suited connector, and JD wakes up with ace-king suited in the straddle. Good to be JD. He is going to come in for the big chunky squeeze. Makes it 850. Harvey not going to let these 9s go without a fight. So he'll make the call. AJ, of course, out of there. And now Fire, fresh off of that big win. I mean, this feels like kind of punty, but I mean, you just smashed a big one. You're up big. You're running hot. You're out of position with a hand that can just like crush some flops and check it over to the pre-flop aggressor, let him bet, and then hit him with the check raise. I mean, yeah, get in there. Flops a pair of 7s, which is inferior to pocket 9s of Harvey. There's a couple queens out there. That has been the card for Fire. So, I mean, there's a chance that he could take an aggressive line at this and bully his opponents out. JD gonna bet 850. I mean, there is a world within which this 850 gets called by Harvey and Fire is just like, screw you guys, and pumps it up to like 3,500, and they just have to fold. But instead Fire is just done with it. I would have actually not hated that at all, right? Like, there's a couple queens out there. There's a 7. You have a 7. Like, you can definitely have pocket 7s. I mean, it's a thin line to go for into 2 opponents, but like sometimes that's the best when it just goes like bet small call. You just hit them with that check raise, and they give you credit for it every time. And you got the added benefit of like the original raiser has a guy to act behind him, so you put that extra pressure on him. Anyways, I can go on this spot, but Fire's out of there, so it doesn't matter. 4 diamonds on the turn changes nothing. JD now has to decide if he is going to rep the aces, kings, and ace-queen suited of the world. I guess it doesn't even have to be ace-queen suited, right? He's the pre-flop aggressor. He is going to continue barreling, 2,500. And now Harvey is in a similar predicament to what we saw earlier, where it's like you're kind of at the top of your range. You got 9s, 10s, and jacks that are going to call the squeeze. Not necessarily going to put in a re-raise. You're going to have some queens, certainly. You can have some queen jack suited, some king queen suited. A few combos of that left anyway. So you've got some better hands, for sure. You can start folding some middling pairs. But you want to let the 9s go right now. Harvey says yes, he does. And JD going to get that one through. Takes another nice pot. Gonna chip him up. Very close to Fire. Yeah, JD and Fire right there neck and neck, both up 12,000 plus.
No, I'm playing the stream at sorry, I need to mute my mic.
What's up?
Post stream?
Post stream, just
2550?
You guys want to go 10, 25, 50 plus stream?
I'm actually going to leave.
I'm up to
Huh?
After the stream, I have to go.
You have to go?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you leaving too, Danny?
Probably
I have
not.
a lot of shit to do.
Prior, are you playing or?
I can help keep the game full if people are going to come.
Right.
I'm 50, what?
How about you?
I think I'm out.
Alright, well, it's the three of us then. It's the three of us.
This is the last one?
4?
No, I'm good.
Are you out too?
This is going to be the
No,
last
no, no,
one?
I don't know. We're saying after the stream. I don't know. What? It sounds like they're all leaving, so it's us three.
I'll deal.
Us three and you.
I'll see you guys play.
Fumble here from AJ. Sorry, Danny.
I mean, he did though, but.
Trying to muck his
It
card.
used to be, but nowadays
Say
it's
it?
the
Okay,
much
it
further up.
flashed for you.
Yeah, I was like, Fire definitely not folding the ace 10 of hearts, so he is coming in for a raise there. After the open from Harvey in the flat
Makes sense.
by AJ. He'll take that one down.
Is open sit?
Hold on, don't do it yet. Yeah, I had a fun. It was a fun game to do when I was coming here. I didn't know if I had money in my box or not. So I think I do. I didn't have time to like go to the other place, and I was just like, oh. Maybe. So like I hear, and then everybody's like, hey, can I swap? Can I swap? Can I swap? I'm just like, I got other money in my box. It surprises you. You know, you're looking at me like, is there money left here? I was surprised. How the fuck is that there? He is the first one to be like, you work?
AJ getting frisky here from the hijack. Tired of just calling and then watching people 3-bet and having to fold. So he's going to open this up himself. Ace 8 off.
The Spaniards are really impressed.
Fire calls. Now David here. First playable hand in for a little while.
Fucking Harvey. Taking advantage of the
Squeeze this
situation.
up.
Damn, must be a good night,
That's
John.
a good night, yeah. Fuck, John. You hear that? There's a fucking crater on the floor. We're buying you in the slow.
I think 95 in total.
Race to 1,000 from David and AJ here. It's kind of getting pushed around. It's not people picking on him. It's just his cards kind of suck and their cards are pretty good. So he's going to have to fold frustratedly once again. Fire here with his suited queen is like, well, you know, it's going to try to get you.
No, nice one.
You probably had him dead fire. You probably had him dead. You probably had him dead. I was waiting for if he caught him, the hand we played last week.
Quick shout out here. Later on in the year, TCH Social and Texas Card House Dallas, the Poker Atlas Tour coming at you guys August 17th through September 4th. Mark that on your calendars. It's going to be a $1 million guaranteed title event. All sorts of different tournaments all throughout those 3 weeks. You're not going to want to miss it. So put that on your calendar. Be ready to come and blast these tournaments up in Dallas.
Once at least. Like, I gotta see you, get to see you. There we go.
David on the button. Suited broadways once again. This is a raise and take it. And he's like, oh, well, I guess I didn't lose. Of course, I'm just sort of messing around, but it does take a toll on you when you just run bad.
That's perfect. I come
I know
here
that
for
all
work,
too well.
play, midnight, go home, stay.
How then do you start to work?
I usually roll in at like noon. Noon.
A lot of sticky cards here
Spanish
tonight.
style.
Living the tough life.
Yeah, just over and over. These cards get stuck
Yeah, I'm
together.
working off this more, but yeah, I usually roll in at
Take
noon.
a
I try not to leave before my
washcloth
boss.
to it
I
and
usually leaves like 5:30.
I'll wipe the grease off or something.
12:30.
I'm not sure that'll do anything, but
What a life, huh?
It's more just like number of.
or maybe the
days,
cards aren't greasy
like,
enough.
that
Maybe
I
that's
like
what it
that.
is.
It doesn't seem they don't
They're
seem to
too
care like
fresh.
the amount of hours, you know. So like. So yeah, there's times where.
All
I
right,
just
suited
do
queen
it
here for
exactly,
David.
My check mark for the day, you know. Like,
Got a couple of playable hands
But
back
these
to
might
back.
have something more chill than that.
Shift a couple of pots. Jorge here calling with the 8s out of the small blind, and AJ waking up with JJ.
Yeah, they got a term
He's
for
going to
it.
squeeze it up.
It's called coffee badging.
Relatively small size here, just
Go to the
650 to
office,
go.
badge in, hang out, get some coffee, talk to everybody, say hello to everybody, and then like go home.
Don't necessarily have to make it 700 plus,
Can't quite
but
do that, but I go for 2 hours.
we've seen some of the larger sizings here. Both of these players going to call, so we go 3 players to a flop. And what a flop, look at that. Middle set for Jorge. Double gutter here for David, and AJ on the overpair. So a little bit of something for everybody. David here, of course, would love to have seen a heart out there, so that he had some additional backdoor equity. Jorge just straight up donk leads for 500 out of the small blind. AJ calls, and David gets to close the action with the double gutter. Yeah, let's go. 3 players to a turn. 3,500 in the middle. It's a king of hearts. No good for anybody.
I probably average like 30.
Okay.
Jorge slows it down now with a check.
Don't worry, there were years where it was a lot higher than that, but like now
Yeah, you earned your spot.
AJ is like, I don't know, I guess the king's good for me, and maybe my jacks are just still good.
the weeks are like really light.
Up against like a flush draw and
It's like that for me
pocket
too. I
10s or
basically like
something,
a
you know? I mean,
non-call
you
guy.
sort of start hunting for
I have
hands
to make
that
sure
make
everything's
sense.
working. Not
David
like
now
looking
is man in the middle
literal.
as he's still got Jorge to act
Well,
behind him. This is awkward.
It's more just like when a big customer comes in with some like stupid, you know, like some
It's a small
ridiculous
size.
issue
You
that
really don't want to throw away your equity, but God, if you call and then Jorge raises, it just feels so gross. He does make the call, and indeed, Jorge now in a situation where he can apply some pressure.
You're stupid.
With the flopped middle set, now third set, this betting pattern from his opponents does not reek of a set or some sort of like ridiculous flopped straight, which just really doesn't make a lot of sense anyways, given the way that the hand played out.
It's a weird question.
So yeah, I think Jorge can be very,
Today. Her friend's like mother passed away.
very like, you know, content with the strength of his hand. Like obviously a set of kings now on the turn is a possibility here for AJ
That's where we're like.
if he didn't raise the flop with the kings.
like
But
me and, like,
still, low probability event.
I don't know. We're different.
Very deep. It's going to go for the raise 5.4K. And I think now, yeah, if you're AJ, like, God, it sucks. And he's kind of been put in some nasty spots here, just like hand after hand after hand. So maybe a little bit frustrated to finally get jacks and feel like he's in control of a hand. And then all of a sudden now this is happening. But yeah, sometimes you just kind of have to go with the flow, recognize you're just getting beat. Let it go. He does indeed. Now back over to David. I mean, he just have to call it off with one street to come and only double gutty. He's going to let this go for too long, I think, but he's going to think it through, try to figure out if Jorge is ever doing this with something that like a queen or 10 is live against, right? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. So let's go. Jorge wins a big one. And AJ joins the players at the bottom of the chip counts there, down a little over $1,300. And that is going to be our final hand of the stream. We go into a PLO flip here to round things out. Do want to thank you guys all so much for tuning in. This has been one heck of a ride here as we got through 94 hands on TCH Live Tuesday, 5/10/25. We'll take a final look through the stats for you all, and we'll get the flip out there. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for TCH Live, coming at you again from Dallas. And again on Thursday. I believe we've got a 1-3 live stream out of Austin here. I am currently on that list. We'll see if I'm going to end up playing that. So we'll see who's going to take down this final flip and walk out the door with a little bit of extra change in their pocket. Bill James says, great commentary. Well, thank you very much. Kicker Problems, thank you as well. Y'all take care. Be safe. And be sure to hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you are up to date on all of our future broadcasts. As it looks like JD here is going to make bottom boat, not quite bottom boat, but fours full. And that's going to be good enough to take this one down. 2K going the way of JD. All right, that's going to do it for us here at Texas Card House. For myself, for the staff, production, dealers, everybody.